Can you hear me, everybody? Third time's the charm? Sorry, guys.
Hopefully.
We got to get this right. It only does PlayStation. Episode 8, we were just talking, all of us, that this has actually been 8 months. We were like, wait, did we start this as like a once a week thing or once every 2 weeks? No, this has always been a once a month thing. So when you hear episode 8, you're like, oh, this must be like, you know, a couple months old. No, this is 8 months old now. That's crazy.
I want to point out
crazy.
that I've been more prepared in the 8 months, because look at what I'm now showing. My PlayStation statue shelf over this way.
Yeah, I didn't even
all
think
the
about
PlayStation
that.
fan characters and the PlayStation cap.
Yeah,
Also,
and
And you
Redfin,
have
Second
a
Son.
PlayStation. Yep, I was gonna say you have an exclusive PlayStation.
So
game.
who comes prepared for the show?
You
gang?
do. You do.
That's all I wanted.
Representing PlayStation, which is awesome.
Pretty good, right?
We have Game Killer in the room. Your average, like, thank you for telling us that I was muted, although I'm sure everybody would have been like, what? Drew's muted. Drew's muted. Sorry about that. My fault. I had my mic muted at the beginning there. So, It Only Does PlayStation is a Level Up Network's dedicated PlayStation talk show on once every month. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andrew. I make this show Midori, and I'm joined tonight by the classy douchebag, Mike McLaughlin.
That's me.
Yes, it is you. And we're also joined by my brother, my teammate, Gregory Verga, a.k.a. GVZ.
Your guys' thing was so creepy, I feel like.
Why?
But, hey, yo, it's the boy, Jake Burns.
And that wasn't creepy at all.
No,
was
because
bad.
that's my rapper.
That's your
No.
rapper. We also have YT Gamers who just joined us. YT Gamers, I think this will probably be your first time seeing It Only Does PlayStation. As I was telling everybody else, all
Probably,
PlayStation. 4 PlayStation dedicated topics chosen by us, but we also have 4 mail times. Those are questions that you guys submitted on our Twitter at the Level Up Network, Level Spelled LVL with hashtag IODP. You can do that throughout the next month as well, so that you can get your question onto episode 9 of It Only Does PlayStation. So,
Also, shout out really quickly to all the people that are in this room that have followed us on Instagram recently. I've been having very good conversations with people on that. So thank you.
Speaking
you can
about
all go
following.
follow.
yeah, speaking of following, right? Actually, I'm going to put it up on the screen. Guys, we have some great news.
Bang!
Really, really great news. Check this out. We are only 5 subs away from 100, the big 100, the thing that we've been really trying to get to. So, please, you guys, it's up to you. Go to youtube.com/string of letters and numbers. It will be posted. It'll be posted in the chat. It'll be posted in the chat throughout the night. Go to that link. All you gotta do is click it, and it will immediately ask you to sub. Hopefully, you guys watching right now, you know who we are. We're the Level Up Network, but this is our new YouTube, entirely new. We're starting fresh due to an unfortunate thing that happened on our past YouTube. But the point is, this is new. You have not subbed to this yet if you have not been to that link. So go there, hit that sub button. If we get to 100 subs tonight, I'm going to give 1,000 XP to the entire chat room for sure. It's a huge deal. And then you guys will figure out why we've been trying to get to 100.
Think about it like Game of Thrones Season 1, where all the Stark children get the wolves, and then the wolves murder everybody. That's kind of what happened to us.
Well, let's take a turn, guys.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
I feel like it's very similar.
I don't think it is,
No.
Greg.
No?
It
Okay.
has
No,
nothing to do
You
with-
lost me, man.
Guys, did you see my Joel and Ellie statue?
Yeah, that's right. Change the topic.
I actually haven't watched all of Indie yet, so I haven't seen you unbox it. Are you going to put it up on our YouTube?
Yeah, I cried.
Okay.
I'm editing it right now, but my tears kind of oversaturated
Our
everything, and the audio
brand
is
new
so out of
YouTube?
sync.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
I've been
right.
having issues with that lately too. It's
The
so
audio's
annoying.
so terrible. I have no idea why. But
Well-
I'm like crying, and then like my face makes me look so happy, so it's complete opposite. I'm like, I'm like, ah.
YouTube
So
is really
it's like,
pissing me off lately because
Yeah.
not only did we have the whole copyright strike issue, but I uploaded episode 117 the other day, and I know, like, I checked the video before I uploaded it. It was perfect, like really high quality, audio in sync the whole way through. I upload it to YouTube. It starts in sync, but as the video goes on, by the time you get to the very end, it's like a whole full second off. But what's really weird is that if I go into annotations and add annotations, it plays perfectly fine.
So fucking weird.
So, like, I have no idea what the hell's going on with YouTube right now, but they're really pissing me off. That being said, sub to YouTube.
It's in the chat
Like they
room. All
said,
you
we
gotta do is
love
click it.
YouTube.
Yeah, please, guys. YT Gamer says, "Oh, I wanted to give you guys some advice about the new channel too. If you guys can spread out uploads a bit, like time them out when they go live." Yes, we will moving forward. As you can see on our banner on YouTube, we're going to be doing a video upload Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Just one video, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's the typical thing. Right now, we're just bombarding it with all of our past content because we wanted to get that all on there as quickly as possible.
Gotta
So,
get everything up there, yeah. Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Otherwise, don't forget to follow us right here on twitch.tv/the
Hit the
Level Up
heart
Show.
button!
Yes, give me your hearts. Give me your hearts. Give me.
Why did you turn into fucking Ned Stark as you say that?
We're Game of Thrones tonight, I guess. I don't know.
I've been that's why. Let me explain why I'm
Is
Game of Thrones.
Scottish or British.
I
Yeah.
He doesn't have like when he has to do anything besides normal talking, he just goes British.
So this is why I'm Game of Thrones, just so we know. I rewatched from season 1, episode 1. It's all on HBO Go, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna rewatch this before I watch a new show because I have nothing to watch. I just finished Bob's Burgers and Archer on Netflix. I'm like, let me dive back into something. So I'm like, let me rewatch all the Game of Thrones just to see if I missed anything. And I forgot how brutal season 1 was. So now I'm just making like season 1 references like no other.
Season 1 is still my favorite season of Game of Thrones.
Oh, me too, easily.
Yeah.
As I'm rewatching again, I'm like, wow.
I like to focus on a central character. Ned Stark.
Me too.
Really helps the show. It keeps the flow and the pacing right. YT Gamer says that we should be uploading our old stuff periodically. We didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
There's a reason we wanted to get it all up at once, and that's so that our schedule moving forward can be correct. Like I uploaded episode 117. I didn't want to upload episode 117 and then start uploading episodes 20, 30. No, we wanted to do it in order. So
as well.
yeah, it messes up the playlist where you have to do everything manually. So we wanted to get all of our old stuff on there. Now it's on there. Like pretty much everything is on there now. And now we can get to that normal schedule and normal flow as you can see on our YouTube banner. Lastly,
Back to the grind.
Patreon, guys. It's the best way to support the network. Patreon.com/the Level Up Network. You can donate just $1 or more per month, get monthly XP gifts, get into our list of shout-outs that we do at the end of the Level Up Show every Sunday. Or if you don't want to do Patreon, you can also do a singular donation as well. You can see at the bottom of the screen that we do have a donation goal. It is a new desktop computer. We're trying to really improve the quality of our shows, get to that 1080p, 60 frames per second, get to that studio camera, get to better mics. The base of that needs to be a new desktop computer. You guys have been unbelievable. In the last month, we've already jumped about $300, I want to say, in the last month. So unbelievable support from you guys. You are awesome. All right.
I just put all the links to everything Drew said in the chat room, so just click on them all.
Yes. And I'm sorry for that. House cleaning's done. We're done with all that.
Greg, you know
stuff.
you're in as a Level Up Show, right?
Yeah, because I was highlighting my in-day from before, but I have to say in it because if I don't say in it, then that's I think is what messes up the audio. Because right now I'm processing to YouTube.
That's fine. Listen, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
So everybody,
You
just
do
so you
you.
know, if the Level Up Show says that, I normally just shout out on this show. If it was the Level
Right.
Up Show, I would switch back, but
Right.
and this show I'm just like, guys, listen to me.
All right, let's get into the crux of the show. As I was saying, 4 PlayStation dedicated topics. I'm going to start. I get the first topic because I
Count them
make
1,
this
2,
show.
3, 4.
Yeah. Topic number 1. All right. So Ratchet and Clank just came out, and it's
Yes, it did.
pretty freaking awesome.
Oh, who's loving it? Oh, this guy.
We're going to be talking about that at the end of this topic. I want to start off with a retrospective on Insomniac Games. We've all been with Insomniac over the past, 15, 20 years probably, I guess, right?
Like the little indie game studio, right?
Yes.
For the past couple of
I
years.
think we'll go through their main series. The first one being Spyro the Dragon.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it? Greg, did you ever play Spyro? Because I know that
Yeah,
you did. Okay.
I played Spyro 1 and Spyro 2. Those are the last Spyro games.
I want to say Mike is the biggest Spyro fan here.
Oh yeah, out of us three for
Absolutely.
sure. Yes.
That was like a good time. It kind of started the whole, not a rivalry, but this tag team between Insomniac and Naughty Dog. Where in the PlayStation generation, it was Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot. And then PlayStation 2, it was Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. Like, I love that they had these two studios that I didn't look at as rivals. I looked at as, like, the two premier studios of Sony releasing, action platformers. Yeah, it was
Right. Well,
great.
I feel like it's more like a camaraderie type of competition type thing. It's just like, oh, look what we did. Oh, okay, I see what you did. That's good. Well, don't worry, we'll get you back. Yeah, type of thing. And I think that's what happened. And dude, we won. Yeah, I don't care how much money they made. We were the ones that won. Spyro the Dragon was probably one of my favorite games. Probably one of the most nostalgic games I had because I had a PlayStation 1 for the longest time, and I put so much time into that. And I remember I got halfway through the game and then corrupt save, and I had to restart on that.
Bastard.
But
GFN
right?
says,
was Spyro 1 the one that you had to learn double jump like halfway through the game? Do you remember that?
see, personally, I don't remember that well. It's been such a
Spyro
long
was
time.
I remember hating one of the Spyro games because one of them restricted you from double jump for like the first 6 hours of the game. Granted, I was younger, so
I think
probably
it was.
the game,
I think it was because they just expected. It wasn't the first 6 hours, but it was like one of the last missions in the first area. Which, as a kid, when you played it, probably it took you 6 hours at least.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But,
Yeah.
but if you went through and played it now, it was probably within the first like 35 minutes to an hour.
That's all I remember as a kid is just trying to fucking double jump because
I-
I was so
I-
used to it in every other game. And
I'll
I was
tell you
like,
right
why
now,
can't Spiral double jump?
With them remaking Ratchet, I really hope that I wish they could get the rights to that back and remake that because that would be
Yeah.
even if they
Skylanders
just
now?
made the exact same
The
thing.
thing is, they're a much better developer now than they used to be, and I know they went through a stage where everybody was like, these Ratchet games are monotonous and just like they feel like they were churning them out. But
Yeah.
from Spyro to Ratchet, meaning PS1 to PS2, you could see a jump in their quality. They definitely improved drastically. And Spyro is great. Don't get me wrong. I did like Spyro back in the day, but it's always been that Naughty Dog's been like just a touch better for me. Like when it was that PlayStation 1 generation, I liked Crash Bandicoot more. When it was PlayStation 2 generation, I liked Jak and Daxter more. That being said, Ratchet and Clank on the PS2, Ratchet and Clank 1, Ratchet and Clank 2, Going Commando, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, when they were doing all those clever innuendos, and it was like, it was just, there wasn't a lot of games like that at the time that were so
They filled the
clever in
void
their
that they
writing.
needed to.
And yeah, you didn't even play them, Greg, but now you're finally getting around to it. Those wonderful games. You know what I really remember about Ratchet and Clank? The commercials.
Yes, I remember all the commercials.
I just love the witty banter, like the witty titles and the saying that it was one of those companies that got away with saying things that you weren't supposed to.
Right.
And the commercials were really well. I mean, as a kid, who's not going to love Up Your Arsenal?
Exactly.
Or stuff like that. That's just the cleverest title. I love it.
That's like one of my only disappointments with this newest one is that it doesn't have like a
it's
sexual
just
innuendo
Ratchet
as the
right.
as the title. It's their kind of clever thing is it's the game based on the movie based on the game.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Which
love
is
that
fine.
tagline.
Yeah, it's not
enjoy it.
bad.
And all throughout the game so far, they've been like making innuendos to like what the game is itself too, which I'm very much
Right.
appreciating. As you go through it, like I just finished a mission, and the guy's like, "All right, guys, see you in the sequel." If they do that, are we doing a sequel? And then
Yeah.
everyone just kind of stands there awkwardly.
I'm only about like an hour in right now, but it's already pretty meta.
Oh, I love.
Oh, you're
it.
already
Love
done,
it.
Greg?
No. I haven't gotten. I just got to the part where Rosario Dawson's character comes in, and you're in the ship for the first time.
Okay.
Like flight combat.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about that aspect of the game when we get to the final part of this topic. So, Ratchet and Clank, great series, loved it, but the series that is really underrated from Insomniac was Resistance.
Yes, I completely.
You say
agree.
that. I mean, I'll be honest. I was not a big fan of Resistance. I know you loved it.
It depends. Resistance 1 was a great launch game. It wasn't like the best game ever, but for a launch game, that was really solid. Had a great multiplayer. And then the second one, a lot of people really loved the second one, but for me, it didn't hit. I think it was a really big focus on co-op, and I'm not that kind of gamer.
The second one wasn't good for me. The same.
Yeah, and by that point, it was Nathan Hale was like, okay, I don't care about this guy. In the first game, it was like a silent protagonist. I was like, okay, it's early in the generation. We can't like flesh out this guy. But then the second game, I was like, I really don't give a shit about this guy, even with him talking now.
Agreed.
Like, you gave him a voice, and I still don't give a shit about this guy. Then the third game came along with Capaldi. I want to say Peter Capaldi?
No, that's Doctor Who.
I want to Capelli.
Capelli.
Peter Capelli?
Yep. I don't think it's Peter though. Peter Capaldi plays the 13th Doctor.
That's really weird because I know nothing about Doctor Who.
I know. That's why I was like, oh, why is he referencing him? I'm looking it up.
Just
I feel like
take-
it was
just-
like
Name some stereotypical, Italian name, Anthony or something like that.
Well,
it was something. Like
it was
that.
something Capelli. I do know it was Capelli, and he was a much more personable character that you could become invested in. He's trying to the crux of the game is that he's just trying to get back to his wife and kid. It's this
Joe
Almost
Capelli.
the same story ripped from Burning
Joe.
Skies off the Vita too.
right. But what I really liked about the game is
Right,
that
Joe
the
Capelli.
most scary part of the game was the humans. That one part where you get captured in that prison, very
Yeah.
Walking Dead style, and you're
Yeah.
terrorized by these humans, was by far the most scary part of the game.
Oh, I was actually like genuinely scared.
Yeah, and it was great. They really took a twist on the game. I really like Resistance 2, and it's often compared to Half-Life actually because of the pacing of the game and how the main character, how his story progresses, and how he's mostly silent in that game. Joe
And
Capelli.
how both worlds I feel like still have this lore of mystery, even with knowing what's going on the whole time. Like there's always like a deep thread of what the hell is going on, and
Right.
trying to get to the crux of it. Even like you said, when the main plot point is just him getting back to his family, the chimera and the virus and how it actually got here and all that. I love all that backcore of the series as well.
And just once again, I love that ring finger. You know, he has his wedding ring throughout the game, and you're always reminded of it, him trying to get back to his wife. Real clever thing that
Always
they did there.
reminded me of Elena and Drake. I love when people do wedding rings.
So yeah, really underrated series. And then Insomniac went through kind of a weird phase.
Yeah.
Where they were just churning out weird Ratchet and Clank games.
Can we not talk about that? That's like the phase that I don't want to talk about. That's kind of like
I think it's worth mentioning because they went through a phase where it's like, what are you doing, Insomniac? What are you doing? And they made a bounce back, I want to say, with a non-PlayStation exclusive game. It was Sunset Overdrive, which we can't talk about because this is a PlayStation
not even,
show. But
before that was Into the Nexus, and that was a good game.
Yeah.
It was so short.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so short, that would have been great. But it was a really good game. But it was also only $30.
Right.
So you couldn't really knock it too much. And I think it was crossplay too. I think if cross-buy if you bought it for.
But then this newest Ratchet and Clank is $40, which is a great price, and it's a full 12-hour to 15-hour game, which I think is awesome. So let's get to that. Ratchet and Clank, the game based on the movie based on the game, and it's a remake of the original, but also a little bit of a reimagining. Like Greg, you want to know that entirely, but they're taking some turns with it. And the one thing that I will say, I want to get the bad out first. The one thing that is kind of bothering me about the game is that you can tell they are using movie clips and stuff like that.
That's not bothering me though. I'm kind of liking that.
It makes it feel a little lazy to me because you're getting a movie clip and then the transition into gameplay I don't think is very smooth myself.
It gets better as it goes along.
I have a feeling it's going to. I have a feeling it's going to.
Especially when you hear like the part I just got past, you get to the main city and you have to pick up robots and magnetize them to your ship and throw them at the big warship.
Right.
But Rosario Dawson's character comes on, and right after the cutscene happens, like you go right into the game and it's Rosario Dawson still talking. So I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Like they even got her to like voice over the game stuff. Which
that's cool.
And the voice cast especially, I love everybody's voice work in this game. This game is like I'm sitting in my bed as I'm playing the game, like cackling at myself, like playing.
And don't get me wrong.
I'm glad you're liking it that much.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
It's great. The gameplay is fabulous. The weapons are great, but I couldn't help but be a little disappointed by, and don't jump to like a conclusion here, by the graphics. Now it's unbelievable in game. It looks gorgeous, but I couldn't help but be disappointed because every trailer they showed off, everybody thought that the clips they were showing that were actually from the movie were the game. And now that you see the game, you can really tell they didn't put a lot of work into the game cutscenes. There's a huge discrepancy between the movie cutscenes and the game cutscenes, where it doesn't seem like they put like that much work into like the animations during the cutscenes. And granted, as you said, Greg, this might become later on. I'm just talking about the first hour, and maybe that's because they were using movie clips. Yeah, the first hour is going back and forth between movie cutscenes and game stuff, and I'm seeing this contrast between the two, and it's bothering me, and it's making overall the product of the presentation feel lazy. Everything else, awesome. Loving the gameplay, loving the weapons, absolutely gorgeous. I just
will
wanted
agree
to
with you on that 100%. The first like hour to 2 hours of the game, you get the movie cutscenes coming in widescreen too, which is a big drawback for me. So when those come in widescreen, you're like, all right, here we go. Now we're sent through another cutscene. And I think they basically took like the first 20 minutes to a half an hour of the film and basically put that in the game.
Right.
And then they kind of segmented it with like weird like tutorial levels where you're like, look up and then look down and then screw the wrench into open doorways and stuff. But as soon as you get past that first hour to 2 hours, it's like solid. There's like side quests that you do where the cutscenes look beautiful, and then when they're not trying to differentiate it so much with the film and you just have the gameplay itself, that's when it gets like stunning to me, because then like you said, you don't have the CGI beautifulness compared to the animations of the game with whatever engine they use.
So did they use the same guns, or did they add new ones at all?
Yes and no. Like, you still have the combustor and whatnot at the opening of the game. Obviously, you still have your wrench. Then you get some new things like the pixelizer, which is a brand new weapon.
I just bought that one. I love it.
Well, that was my worry, because my worry was that if they're going to remake the old one, I mean, it had great games or great guns at the time, but since we've gotten so many other ones, Mr. Zircon has been remade, to do different things, in 4 different games.
I love him
like that. Mr. Zircon's probably one of the best parts.
He's awesome.
He's fucking incredible.
And it still has the Groovatron. It still has the Groovatron. I know that it has some kind of weapon that transforms the enemy. I'm not sure what it is yet. It used to be.
Pixelator.
No, but isn't there one for like it used to be like chickens that you would turn
Yeah, there's
the
one
enemies
that used
into?
to turn them into chickens and ones that turned them into sheep, I think,
I
at one point.
think there's one in this game too
I'm
that
only
turns them into
missing-
something.
I'm only missing 2 guns currently. But out of all the guns I have the 8-bit gun, which is a pixelator. It turns
That's
them into
really
8-bit.
cool.
You get to smash them. I love that, and it also makes the game music when you shoot them like go into like 8-bit music form, which I think is fucking awesome. I'm enjoying that gun a lot. Then they have the like I think it's the Gravitron. Is the one where you shoot, like,
Groovatron.
the Groovatron, where you shoot up the disco ball and all the enemies stop attacking you and they just start dancing and like moonwalking and shit. That one's awesome.
That's wonderful because they do every single character in the game. Every enemy
Yeah.
has their own dance animation. It's just so cool.
To test it, I shot it at one point. You fight this massive tank that's literally shooting like torpedo-style missiles at you, and I was like, no, there's no way it's gonna use it on the tank, and I shot it up, and the whole tank, like the wheels, the huge wheels, is doing the moonwalk. I'm like,
that's
shut
awesome,
the
yeah.
fuck up.
That's
I
really
started
cool.
dying. I'm like,
GFN in the chat, Rick says Mr. Zircon Heart. Of course, Mr. Zircon's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, but he also clarified. He said it turns them into sheep in this one.
Okay.
So
That's what I
there
saw.
is a weapon in this one that turns the enemies into sheep.
The Sheepinator probably is, because I think that was the original one.
We got a 2-minute warning there.
Uh-oh.
So Greg, I want to talk to you the most because you never played Ratchet and Clank before
This
this.
is my first Ratchet and Clank game.
So tell me why it's hitting for you.
It's everything. It reminds me. It's 2 things. It's one. It's the nostalgia of a platformer, which I really, really miss and I really, really enjoy. I get the feel combat-wise of a little bit almost of like Enslaved Odyssey of the West mixed with humor, if they could do that. The Enslaved combat was so like satisfying to me for some reason. Every time you hit something with his bow staff, or when you started getting the magical abilities and you got to snipe them, that's exactly what the combat feels like for me in Ratchet and Clank. The best part is though adding those little nods of humor, but still like being able to annihilate people. So I was just running through the city with Clank, and Clank saying something on my back. He's like, "Oh, like Ratchet." I love how like proper he is compared to Ratchet, just like whatever.
Yeah.
And their dynamic is awesome too. But he said something to Ratchet about like using your wrench. So I was like, oh, like I've been using the wrench the whole game. Like, what else can I do? And I didn't realize if you lock onto the enemy, you can throw your wrench and it comes back at you like Force Grip style. So I was fucking like, I'm like, Clank, you're the fucking man. Like, just those little moments where like as I'm playing through the game, I'm like 4 to 6 hours in at this point, and like they're still teaching me new things I can do. Like I'm not bored in the slightest. Like none of it feels repetitive to me. None of it feels like this is all tacked on or added on. The voice cast, like I said, is amazing. I really love the soundtrack to the game too. And then when it's not breaking it up with the cutscenes of the game, like from the movie, when they don't have that differential, the gameplay itself, I think, is beautiful. I'm very much enjoying it.
Yeah, it's definitely the best the gameplay has ever been. It just feels really good. It controls really. It's really tight.
What do you feel of Quark?
Oh, he's a dick right now. I hate him right now.
Yeah, he's a dick just
Yeah.
overall, but
At the beginning, especially of this game, he is. But what's funny is as the games progress, his character becomes more and more like you look forward to seeing him, just because it's just like, oh, you're the worst, but it's like in an entertaining way. Like you look forward to it.
well, the
He's
game
my
starts.
biggest gripe right
I
now.
think a little different than the original, and I could be wrong. It's been a really long time, but it starts off with him in prison
Yeah.
to tell the story
Really?
of how he got there, kind of, which is different. I don't remember
The
it
whole
being that
game
way.
is being told where he's telling a fellow inmate, an inmate comes to see him, and that he's like the #1 inmate in the prison, and he goes to the inmate, oh, would you like to hear the story about Ratchet and Clank? He's like, yeah, tell me how they became the Galactic Warriors. Is that what they're called?
Something like that.
The Galactic superheroes.
Let's go to the mail time because it's actually related to Ratchet and Clank. Comes from Johnny
Beautiful.
Poolside. He says, "Dear It Only Does PlayStation, with the Ratchet and Clank movie/game coming out, what are your favorite and least favorite game/movie tie-in combos?"
This is tough.
Has
I'm shouting out immediately. Spider-Man 2.
I was gonna say that one too. That's one of the
fucking
few I can
incredible.
think of.
There's a couple other. I just have to think of them, but I had to shout that out immediately. That's the first one that pops into my mind because that game is fucking awesome. The Amazing Spider-Man game, not terrible at all.
Really?
Not as good as Spider-Man 2, but I really, really love Beanox nailed, I think, the web swinging in that game.
I think
Which game was that? Is that the
Not The Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man. It was by Beanox Studios.
for what console though?
It was on PS3.
Okay.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, I
my
remember that
opinion,
one.
The best one was probably. Oh wait, no. Well, you're talking about that. Yeah. All right, that was good for tie-in. Yeah.
I
The
love
best Spider-Man
the way
game
his
probably-
Spider-Man's body warps with the web swinging. Like, he physically
Right.
swings into it, and I loved that feeling.
I'm not sure if this counts, but I feel like the best movie game tie-ins were back in like the Super Nintendo days, and I would say it's like Aladdin and Lion King and Beauty
Yeah.
and the
Story.
Beast.
Pretty
Toy
solid.
Story is probably the best
Toy
movie
Story.
tie-in overall.
One of the
Aladdin-
newer ones, right?
It was my
Was
shit.
that?
You're talking about the PS3 one?
Well, no, those are good too. I'm talking
That
about
was
the
good.
side-scrolling one. the side-scrolling one was probably the best because it actually followed almost exactly the movie.
Yeah.
But put a lot of stuff in. You know what's funny is actually one of my favorite Toy Story ones was also the Toy Story 3. I don't know if you guys played that for PS3, but that was actually really good. It was kind of weird. They added
It was kind of like the Disney Infinity toy box.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they had that for part of it, but then they also had like the story missions. It was actually pretty good, but I remember
I
getting
heard
that.
great things about that game.
Yeah, I liked
My
it.
favorite, I love Toy Story on N64. Shout out to that game. That game was.
I remember that too. Wow, that's crazy.
And when you have to be Buzz Lightyear and you roll on the ball through the garage, that's my fucking shit right there. I was the master.
I want to say a welcome to Primal Instincts. Johnny Poolside says the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith game
that game was great.
was good.
That was a pretty good game.
When you switched off on missions between Anakin and Obi-Wan with the Force healing, that was a good game.
Never played that.
Oh, that was so good, John.
I think YT Gamers agreed on, I think it was either Aladdin or Lion King being great back in the Super Nintendo days.
Lion King, I would say, the most BS game ever. There's a level in Lion King that is virtually unbeatable. Unless you are, like, a destroyer of worlds, you will not beat this one level.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that that's what he's talking about, because that game is a bitch.
Can I say the Uncharted games for replicating Indiana Jones?
No, you can't.
Okay, because that would have been my pick. Now.
Definitely can't say those. That was a good question, though. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, I like that question. That made me think of it.
I mean, at this point, Ratchet might become the best movie/game movie tie-in.
Game Killer 305 is a good one, too. X-Men Origins Wolverine, that was a great game. Not a great movie, but a really good game for Wolverine.
And YT Gamers clarified, he said, loved it, but so BS. Another BS one for me was Beauty and the Beast, actually, for Sega Genesis, because when you got into the evil farce, it's a maze that you have to get through, and you have to figure out what the purple and blue flowers mean, if I remember right. And there's a white flower that finally indicates, like, that's the way to go. But I never figured out, at, like, the age of 7, what the purple flowers and the blue flowers meant, and like if I was supposed to turn left or right. It was so frustrating. It was one of those things where
some of them led you to like items or like more health or something like that. One of the flowers was like life. I remember the exact part you're telling me about because I fucking hated that. I could never get past it.
Crazy. That was the worst. But I only got through it a couple times because you didn't have save states back then. So you would just like turn it on and be like, all right, let's see if I can find my way through this time. Because at that age, I would just walk around and just take lefts and rights and hope to find a white flower and be like, yes, finally. And I would just do that over and over again every time I played it until I got it. I probably only beat that game like one time.
I just want to say how much I took for granted. Number one, save states in games, but then number two, like on PS4, man, like this was a thing the Vita implemented a while ago, but when they brought it over to PS4, the suspend and resume feature, that's my favorite thing I think that ever happened on video game consoles.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm watching an episode of Game of Thrones, and I'm like, you know what? Let me jump into Ratchet. Oh, it's right fucking there. It doesn't
Drew can
any
attest,
loading or anything. It's amazing.
Drew can attest to that. His biggest issue with Ori and the Blind Forest was that there was no autosave.
Yeah.
So in a state now where we're so used to games just automatically saving everything for you.
I think there's certain games I like it in. One of them being Final Fantasy. I kind of like the tension of save states in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, I was going to say.
Yeah, but Ori was one of those things where you die so often because that's like the structure of the game. It got frustrating.
It was almost like you suck for not saving.
Topic number 2 goes to Gregory. Greg, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Okay, so coming off, I guess this is fitting. I go next, right? Did you plan this, Drew?
I did.
So talking about Ratchet and Clank, this is a series that I totally missed out on. I'd never played any of the other Ratchet and Clank games previous to this one. So I wanted to talk about on the PlayStation console, which series do you feel you guys most missed out on?
Yeah.
Perhaps it's one that you got a chance to play. Perhaps it's one you're still missing out on and have never played yet. But yeah, my big
we
one
should
was
try to keep this PlayStation centric, of course.
Yeah.
The first one that popped into my head, not PlayStation centric, but Mass Effect.
Yeah, the thing about this. What gets me so upset is the fact that Drew loves RPGs. He loves.
I love Japanese RPGs.
False, but you also love good characters with good stories. So like, not false in that you were wrong. False in like, wait. So like, all three of those things, you would love this game series. Like I know you would, and that's.
I'm gonna get around to it again. Every time I want to get into it, something happens. Like our YouTube falling apart.
What really sucks about it is I feel like at this point, like there's a lot of me that says you and I should just play Mass Effect 3.
No.
But at the same, the reason not is because the stuff that
the best one.
Well, the stuff that you choose to do in the previous games influences so much like you and Dean had the conversation the other day that one of you killed off a character or something like that the other person didn't have, and it's like, how does that work in this, in the next game, and so it's an interesting thing to do that way, but like it's just one of those things where each game requires so much time.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing I like to give people is Mass Effect 2 is the best as far as the character development goes. It's very Lost-esque, where it comes up and it's like, when you go, there's these things called loyalty missions, and you can just play out all of the characters' loyalty missions, and that in turn affects how the game ends, of who's gonna die, depending on what you got them to overcome. Like, there's a character in the game who's an alien species, and he's a brainiac, but he's afraid of combat. So over the course of the game, on all of his loyalty missions, you kind of teach him to like be confident in himself, and then at the end of the game, he has this part where he has to take down some people, and you're like, oh fuck, like, is he gonna live or is he gonna die? Did I do enough loyalty missions? Is he like trained enough by now?
Yeah.
So that stuff is so crucial. What I do say always, Mass Effect 1 is such a different departure for the series of what they thought they were going to do as opposed to all the fan feedback they got. So the comic book storyline by Dark Horse Comics, they give you it, and there's 4 major choices of Mass Effect 1. Those are, out of the 40-plus hour game, there's 4 choices that matter. So I just did the comic book, and that's how I went into Mass Effect 2 and 3 on PlayStation, which is incredible. And then fucking the way I still talk to people. How long ago do you think Mass Effect 3 came out? Like 3-4 years now?
Yeah, probably 4 years, I guess.
And fucking, I have conversations with people to this day about that game where I'm like, wait, what happened to you? Because, like, that never happened to me. And I played that game so many times over.
Yeah.
Both as male, female.
It was one of those things that I kind of missed the boat. It's kind of like with Mike. Like, I'm concerned that he's not going to really enjoy Ocarina of Time because it's too far gone. Like,
That's mind-blowing to me.
No, but you know what, though, at the same time, here's the only thing. It's maybe... I think I said something before. On my Vita, I grabbed the Adventure Time game, but it's basically a Zelda game, and I'm still enjoying stuff like that. So I don't doubt that as long as it's still good. I might not like it as much as you guys do, but I don't think that I won't like it.
I've played Ocarina of Time recently. I try to play it like once every 2 years or so, and when I still play it now, it's awesome. I played it on my cousin's 3DS or whatever.
I do think it aged well, and YT Gamers literally just said that in the chat room that it's aged so well. I agree, it has aged really, really well, so I hope you like it, Mike. Another one that's on screen right now. Actually, pause for a second. We have 28 people in the room. I do want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. This is It Only Does PlayStation, the Level Up Network's PlayStation-centric talk show on once every month. Follow the show if you're new. Please hit that heart button at twitch.tv/levelupshow. We will shout you out. More importantly, though, go to our YouTube. It'll be posted in the chat throughout the night. We just created a new, fresh YouTube. Brand new. You haven't subbed to it yet if you didn't hear about that before. So go to the link provided. There it is in the chat room. Click that. It'll ask you to sub. Please do. We're almost at 100, which is our big goal. We're going to give 1,000 XP to the entire chat room if we get there. Now,
do we get any subs yet?
I'll check. Let me check after this game here. I want to talk about Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne.
Well, you started playing Demon Souls, right?
I touched it for like a moment. Like I just didn't give it enough of a chance to really talk about it. And Bloodborne I did buy, and I would like to try that one out. It seems the most accessible to me. But
you did get Bloodborne?
Yeah, I got it for Black Friday last year.
Nice, okay.
So and that one looks great. It's gorgeous. It looks a little bit more accessible, a little more fast-paced, which attracts me a little bit more. But I totally missed the boat on that one.
Yeah,
that's just a series that doesn't appeal to me more so, rather than me missing the boat on it. I was trying to think of like another huge series that I missed the boat on. There were so many games that I didn't play on the PS2 era that I've only gotten to play because of the HD collections. Like Sly Cooper was one I didn't play until Sanzara released the HD collection. And now I fucking love Sly Cooper, especially with Thieves in Time coming out. I'm like, where is my next Sly Cooper game? I think especially for me, it comes down to missing platformers in general. Like that's why I think I'm loving Sly so much, or Ratchet so much, excuse me, is like the little upgrades you get. Like I just got an upgrade to Clank where it like lets you kind of do a double jump and then glide in the air, and I'm like, I miss stuff like that where like those were your upgrades in games, not like upgrade the AK to hold more ammunition as you go across the fucking world murdering pirates. Like it was kind of like give Clank a fucking helicopter head. Like that's awesome. Like why?
Yeah.
Are you talking about like that you missed out on Ratchet and Clank, or were we sorry?
I'm saying like like platformers in general, and the way like games used to be like spaced out over time. Like your upgrades in Ratchet and Clank are like, here's the pixelizer gun, which turns everybody into 8-bit. Whereas like now you play Bioshock and it's like now you can hold 40 shells instead of 20 in your shotgun, and I'm like, what? Like that's not exciting to me, you know?
I always hated that I missed out on Final Fantasy IX when it came out because so many people love it, and I never grabbed it. but I always felt bad that I missed that.
It just came out on Steam and mobile.
Yes.
I saw that. I don't like playing.
Baby.
I actually, you know what's funny is I actually do like the old school, like the 8-bit, 16-bit Final Fantasy games on mobile, but I don't like anything past like Final Fantasy 6. Anything like that is too much. It doesn't do it justice. But I did also miss out on Jack and Daxter, which
that's a big one. That's a big one.
One of my favorite video games of all time.
You missed out on those Naughty Dog ones, really
yeah,
bad.
I don't know how. Those are the best ones.
Especially considering you were this huge Crash Bandicoot fan.
I made the choice on Uncharted just because at first I made the choice on Uncharted because of all the reviews. The reviews were like, it's okay. It's a good launch title. That was the most of what I saw of Uncharted 1. So it's like, all right, I don't really care. And I also got a PlayStation 3 probably, a year and a half into it? 2 years into it, something like that. So it was pretty late to the game. I didn't get a PlayStation 3
lucky because all you missed was Lair. So
yeah,
I think I actually didn't get one.
And Heavenly Sword and Resistance and a few others. Yeah,
right. So I had to catch up on a bunch of stuff. And Killzone, when I got it, Killzone 2 was just coming out.
Few things. I want to thank Primal Instincts for being our newest YouTube sub, bringing us to 96. Just 4 more needed to get there. Skyrim is on the screen right now because I never got to play Skyrim because of its disastrous performance on PS3, unfortunately. I've heard amazing things about that RPG. I love Elder Scrolls Oblivion, so I'm sure I would have loved Skyrim, but
one of my favorite games.
Just wasn't in the cards for me.
I know.
Another 2 big series I missed out on, not necessarily PlayStation centric, but more so for one of them. For the longest time was Final Fantasy. Up until I really, really tried to play Final Fantasy 7 and love it, and I was just like, this is so old. This game. I'm like,
you're the
I
worst.
just can't. I'm like, I just physically can't play this. And like I saw the potential in it just because of all the characters interactions, and the story was what kept me going in that game. Like the way Cloud interacts with everybody, and like he has amnesia, and like what the fuck's going on, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, why can't it be updated? But I have that coming soon now.
Yes,
so
you
I'm
do.
Excited. And then second for me was the Fallout series. Not necessarily PlayStation centric again, but like I never touch Fallout, and people yell at me all the time. They're like, Greg, how have you never played Fallout? I'm like, it's just not a game series that's like Fallout. Woo.
Yeah. YT Gamer says, have you ever tried playing Final Fantasy with the HD mods? I have not. I'm actually not too big a fan of that kind of stuff, especially with Final Fantasy. I never really enjoy the character models that people create for like Cloud and stuff, and they look really rigid to me. I think, for instance, with Final Fantasy 7, I actually really like the chibi old school graphics of that game. I think it has a charm. I like when Barrett's jumping up and down, like slamming the ground and stuff like that. I feel like that's what's great about Final Fantasy 7. But with Final Fantasy 10, like that's great. Like the HD remaster stuff like that. That's fine. I've never been into a fan of mods.
I was just gonna say though, when I was playing through Final Fantasy X, like I switched all the music and stuff over back to the original, just as playing through the game and everything. Like,
good man.
Especially like for the music, like I listened to both for like a long time as I was playing through. Like I would listen to both for an hour, and I'm like, which one do I like more? But I totally fell in love with the original over the remastered stuff. And that's the way I have the Final Fantasy X soundtrack saved on Spotify now, because I love that soundtrack so much.
Oh, it's a great one. It's one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah.
And Drew's favorite game of all time, I also missed out on, but that's just because I wasn't really into RPGs back in the day. And Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, that's up there. Definitely one of my favorite games. Not my favorite. Final Fantasy VII goes ahead of it, but yeah, Chrono Trigger is right behind it. That's another game that aged really, really well, Mike. If you want to grab an emulator and ever play through Chrono Trigger, that's a freaking fabulous game. Really, really good.
I need to get Persona 2. That's actually the next
I also
game
hear
I
good
get
things
for
about
Vita.
Suikoden. Never played it though.
Yeah, Suikoden's great. Persona, as Mike just said, which was on the screen there. I finally got into Persona when 4 Golden came out on Vita, and I was like, holy shit, how did I miss out on this series? This is amazing. Like the social connections and the wooing and all that kind of stuff. I was like, this is my kind of game. I'm really, really enjoying this, and I can't wait for Persona 5. And in some ways, I want to go back and do 1, 2, and 3, but I'll never get around to it. They're just too big to go back to at this point. So that's another big regret of mine is Persona.
Oh, damn it, Brad. You asked the question before I could. I was going to ask, did either of you ever play Resident Evil?
I
played all of
played...
them, except for 6.
Oh, okay.
I played 1, 2, watched a lot of 3,
played 5.
Played most of 4, played all of 5, didn't play 6.
So you never finished Resident Evil 4?
No, I didn't have it.
Wait, really?
When I finally got around to getting a GameCube, I didn't get... Resident Evil had already passed. I got the GameCube really, really late in its life cycle just for Wind Waker. And that was pretty much the only game I played on it. And then eventually Resident Evil came out to PS2. That was one of those ones
on every console ever made.
I played some of it, but I
Yeah.
mostly missed the boat on that one. So
You can still probably go back. Well, I don't know because the
Resident Evil 4 is coming out in the fall.
Yeah.
On PS4.
I know. I think it's something that you should definitely play because it was definitely a great game. How far did you get into it?
I probably was like 5 or 6 hours into it.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
that's
You don't
nothing.
know how it ends? Do you know how it
No,
ends?
no, I have no idea.
Oh, it's so good. It's a good ending too. It's
Yeah.
actually a
This
game
is
that had like, it's one of the ones
astonishing
that
to
had a good
me.
ending.
I
Yeah.
played
I
that
skipped
game
6
probably
altogether.
50,000 times. I love Resident Evil 4.
We were even, what's funny is me and Drew played 5 a little bit together,
Yeah.
when we could. But like I think we had the conversation back then. I don't understand all the hate that I got for the racism bullshit.
Yeah.
That was
we were-
originally very much so in the beginning. And the thing that made me the most angry about it was the fact that Ford literally did the same exact thing with Spaniards, but as soon as it became a black
Right.
issue, it literally was a
Thank
whole
you. That's exactly what I said. I was like,
pissed me off.
every other game, including the last one, made a thing of stereotyping a culture, and this one, and you know what? I mean, in Africa, there are still tribes, so
Yeah.
it still does happen like that. And the same way in South America, there's actually Brazilian tribes. Or not Brazilian tribe, but like South American tribe. There's a lot of different cultures that still have those roots. So I don't know. I just hated that so
I really
much.
like the way they implemented that actually with the African tribes, and when you and Sheva go down into like the crypts for like chapter 5 before you find out the big Jill Valentine reveal. That's, like,
Yeah, it
one of
was
my favorite
good.
things ever.
That was
I
really
love
good.
that. I
Go
love
into the
that.
chat real quick. I have several JRPG regrets. Super Dave brought up one of them. I never got to play Wild Arms. I never played... Which Suikoden did I never play? I never played one of the Suikodens. I never played... This is my biggest Final Fantasy regret. I never played Final Fantasy Tactics, which is on screen right now. One of the fan-favorite Final Fantasy games. I'm not sure it would be my favorite because I'm not that huge into strategy RPGs, but still hear amazing things about that game. So,
We
yeah,
also
I
never
have several.
played Shenmue either.
You never played Shenmue?
What is that?
Johnny Poolside, thank you for your resubscription. Could you guys not hear that?
Oh, thank you. Sir.
I didn't
No,
hear
couldn't.
it.
It was
no.
really,
I
really
just
loud
saw
in
your
my
eyes go up.
headphones.
I'm like, what's
It
happening?
was really, really loud on my headphones, and I'm sure it was loud for the guys in the chat too. Thank you so much, Johnny Poolside, for your resubscription. 6 months in a row now. That's huge. Awesome
What is
stuff.
he, our best friend or something?
He is one of our best friends, I would say.
Guys, I'm very excited for the fact of the matter that I have a PlayStation shelf behind me.
Good for you, man.
As I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, I'm
It is-
sorry to keep bringing it up. I'm just so excited about it. I have all my lights in my bedroom. They point to this on my ceiling fan now. Just look at Joel and Ellie. They're so beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love them.
Any other regrets, guys, before we wrap up this topic? We have
I think I'm done. I don't
1 minute
really have
left.
any regrets. I've played everything I wanted to play on PlayStation.
I'm
at least.
excited that most of my regrets have come in either HD collection form or I'm going to get them in now like Final Fantasy VII, like the episodes and stuff like that. That's what I'm most excited for. A lot of my big regrets I've gotten to play, thankfully, because everybody loved them so much that they came in other forms.
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil is another one.
Ah, that's another one I missed out on. Yeah, I hear great things about that. Good timing. Mail time. You guys can
You're
submit your questions every month to try and get on It Only Does PlayStation. Just use hashtag IODP like this person did. Dear It Only Does PlayStation, what is your favorite weapon that is wielded by a PlayStation exclusive past or present character? Also feeding off Ratchet and Clank, of course.
Wait.
This comes from Rick GFN. Thank you.
Pause. I'll be right back.
Okay, Mike, we'll start this off. Ratchet and Clank has so many great weapons.
Ratchet and Clank has a great one. I mean, Mr. Zircon is easily one of my favorites of all
Yeah.
time. I don't know if you can consider that a weapon though, because it was more of a
Yeah, it's a
personal
weapon.
assistant robot.
I would consider it a weapon.
Dragon's Golden, probably one of my favorites.
That is
I
good.
wonder what weapon I like. I don't even. It's like weird. I don't even have a favorite
The,
weapon.
you know what's funny is I think the Lion King Keyblade was actually my favorite.
What was it?
The Lion King. Keyblade,
Oh, you're talking
one
about in the
that-
game how your Keyblade changes? Yeah.
Can we just discuss about how if I fight in a zombie apocalypse, this is my weapon? Listen to it.
I
It's like
feel like you're
Look.
going to be.
this is solid. Man. This cost me $150.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a keyblade made out of
Once
metal.
again, Greg.
Yeah.
You need to start thinking about what you spend your money on.
Okay, but like that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I love it. I love the
Cute.
Keyblade.
Yeah, and what's it going to do for you?
In a zombie apocalypse, I'm about to come save your bitch asses because I have a metal $150 keyblade. What do you mean? And when the Heartless come, thank you, but bae, I'm
I
the
think
one
my,
going in
my
the-
needle will do a better job.
Right, thank you. And that
Oh
was not
my
even a-
god. with
Although
you,
that's
man.
not gaming related. I do love the Gunblade though from Final Fantasy VIII. the Buster
I always thought
Sword
it
from
was-
Final Fantasy
The Gunblade
Seven.
Keyblade that Leon gives you if you win. I don't know if you went that far in Kingdom Hearts, but if you get to all the Olympus Coliseum matches, Leon gives you the Gunblade Keyblade. That's one of my favorites.
The Gunblade's totally not pointless. It might look like it. It's like, what are you going to do with this thing? The point of it is not to like point it and shoot it. It's that when you're slicing, you pull the trigger, and it shoots off like a blast that coincides with your strike. I love it. It's a cool weapon. Another one is Lightning's weapon from Final Fantasy 13, which is a sword/gun. Like the blade will come out from the gun, which is pretty cool.
Big shout out
what
to
about,
Kratos's all the blades: Blades of Athena, Blades of Chaos, Blades of Exile. All my fucking favorite. If I had to pick
Speaking
one
about
set of blades, it'd be
lightning,
the Exile.
What about the infamous?
The
The amp.
cattle prod or whatever.
Yeah.
The amp.
That was probably the
Cattle
worst actually out of
prod.
all games. Of any game that I've seen, that was probably I hated that. I mean, it was effective, but
It
it
was
was like,
fine.
that was so.
It wasn't any worse than Delson's fucking metal chain that he took off a sewer and then wrapped
No,
around
I'm fine
his
with
hand.
that.
The
You were
chain
better
was
off
fine.
with the chain than the amp. I love the amp.
Yeah.
They're both just melee weapons. I don't know. They didn't really have much importance to me in those games.
Lionel 666. It is the key to Beyonce's chastity belt. I'm still waiting for her to respond to our Twitter post.
Yeah, you're gonna wait for a long time.
Queen Bay, if it's you, I
Yeah,
gotta keep late to
her pyramid boobs are very pointy. Those could poke an eye out
Are
for
we
sure.
talking about Madonna or Beyonce?
They were talking about Lara Croft,
Oh well, this.
the original Lara Croft.
Oh, dual wield. Anybody that dual wields a weapon, dual wielded like bow staffs, like dual wielding pistols. I fucking love shit like that.
Speaking of that, not PlayStation, but Needler.
Wait, who dual wields bow staffs?
Donatello in every Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game,
He does not dual wield a bow staff.
or not dual wield, but like weapons that use both hands is what I meant.
Okay.
And
Two-handed
dual wielding,
weapons.
you have the side with Michael. Not
Dual
the
wielding
side,
is two different hands holding two
I
different
know,
weapons.
but like you know what I meant, like when you
No,
when
I
it takes
didn't.
both, or when Sora uses both keyblades. Done.
That's cool.
That's dual wielding.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, that's cool. I do like the dual wielding
When he changes
keyblades.
to his costumes, and my
Yeah.
favorite is the blue one where he slides around everywhere. He's like roller skating on nothing.
Bulldog Brad says best weapon is the dildo in Saints Row.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
there's another one. The Saints Row games have some of the worst weapons in the entire world.
Didn't South Park have some real clever weapons?
Oh, they did. Oh,
Throwing
I hate that.
farts.
I can't
Yeah, you
remember.
could throw your farts. But I feel like there were some other funny ones in that game too. When are we
There's
going to
some-
hear about that? Where the hell is?
E3. Well, why do you think they have
yeah.
a whole? Conference?
Yeah, but still, I feel like that game was announced how long ago now? It
Last
was.
E3.
Was it last E3?
Yeah, it was last E3.
I thought
And
it
all
was-
they gave was the premise. They didn't give us anything else.
Okay.
For the premise.
I'm really excited for that. That's
Mhm.
going to be a lot of fun.
I still have to play Stick of Truth.
I hate you so much.
It's
I
great.
still have to play it. I'm sorry, I'm getting through everything else. Sorry, I'm playing the first Ratchet and Clank I've ever played. I'm making my way.
Yeah, some other good ones from the chat. We have Joel's unbelievably deadly fist from The Last of Us. That's true, man. That guy's got some deadly fists. Funeral Party Today has an interesting, clever one. He says the Fatal Frame camera. That's cool. Very cool.
That's a weird weapon, I guess.
Brad says the dubstep gun. Is that from
That's also from Saints Row.
Saints Row? Looks like Saints Row has some clever weapons.
Saints Row has some really weird shit, man. There's one where you shove it into the ground and it literally comes up to the enemy, shoves up their butt, and shoots them off into the sky.
Wow.
That's kind of crazy. Wait, guys, I have a question. Back to dual wielding. So you don't call it dual wielding if you use both hands. You call it dual wielding
No,
if
that's
it's two
two-handed.
items.
No,
Yes.
yeah, you'd have to have two separate
Two.
weapons and two separate hands.
So he just
So,
wields a bow staff.
Yes.
He wields a bow staff. Yeah, it's
Yeah, like
two-handed.
Darth Maul
I just
doesn't
wanted to get
dual
my
wield a
senses.
lightsaber.
Yeah, 'cause- I was thinking about. I was like genuinely asking. I really didn't know.
Like Ahsoka is dual wielding, whereas Darth
Lightsabers.
Maul is two-handed.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I didn't know what the dual was. If it was for the hands or for the items. It's for the items.
Let's take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna
Or
come
you-
back with the PlayStation trailer of the month. Hold on
Guys,
tight.
while we're on break, go subscribe to our YouTube. I'm putting it in the chat. Thank you.
Yes, do that. And welcome to Glino666. I think you're new. I'm gonna say hold on tight because we're going to commercial break. We'll be back in approximately 60 seconds.
It was crazy.
Welcome back, Level Uppers, to It Only Does PlayStation, Episode 8. This is the Level Up Network's dedicated PlayStation talk show on once every month. If you like what we're doing at any point, please make sure to follow us at twitch.tv/The Level Up Show. Just hit that heart button that Greg is showing right now, and we will shout you out, of course. A real important one tonight, though, as Greg said before the commercial break, and he's about to type it into the chat room right now, is YouTube. We are rebuilding our YouTube. It's entirely new. That link there is to a new YouTube channel that you probably have not subbed to yet. So please, do us a favor, support the Level Up Network. Go to that link, click
Go
yes.
subscribe!
Holy shit,
God,
that was loud.
Greg, that was loud.
Because that's rude if you don't.
We will not track you down and kill you, but we will
I
be
will.
disappointed.
$50, I will track you down and murder you.
So please, yeah, support us by subbing. We are almost at the big 100. Let's check and see if we got any further. We're trying to get to 100 subs. We're going to give out 1,000 XP to the entire chat room. We're at 97. We just need 3 more subs. Share the YouTube, guys. Share it. Anybody you can. Tell your friends, tell your family, your grandma, your dog, whoever that likes gaming about our YouTube channel,
Or
and tell
one
them
of you
to
that
sub.
already subscribed, go make another 3 YouTube channels and go subscribe to
You
us.
could do that too if you want that 1,000
We want
XP.
legit.
Yeah.
Yes, we do want legit. And also check out all
But
other
for all
channels
intents
as well.
and purposes, I want 1,000 XP, please.
Yeah. Don't we all? Don't we all? All right.
I know what
My XP.
is. I'm actually curious to see what I'm at now. I never ever checked that.
I'm curious too.
I'm not that high, actually.
Rick said it's also rude if you yell. That's true. My apologies.
For some reason, mine didn't work. Oh, there it is. I have 126,000,
I have 100,000 less.
and I'm a gunnery sergeant.
That's really exciting. I like that name. I wonder what I am.
That's pretty cool. All right, guys, we're going to move on to the PlayStation trailer of the month. Now, we're kind of beating a dead horse with this one here.
Okay.
But it is the best trailer of the month. And it does belong to what I consider a very PlayStation-centric game. So let's check it out. Whoops. There we go.
That was the wrong one. Oh, yes, so good.
Speak Chinese.
I wish I could hear it. It's like the best song.
Oh, I brought it up. You have to open up the outline.
I have it on my phone. No, I'm smart.
What's
is
the
super
girl's
cool.
name again? What's the girl's name?
That's Luna. That's Leviathan, which is going to be one of the summons in the game.
This reminds me of very much Kingdom Hearts in the library with Kairi. Remember that?
Yeah, that's Luna and Noctis when they were kids. That's... I can't remember his name.
He's the psychopath, that's what I call him.
He does seem villainous to me.
Yeah, I see him as a psychopath. I just wish I could pull off a haircut like any Japanese role-playing game character. That would make me so happy.
Right?
Oh, he looks normal.
That's Core.
We like him.
I'm pretty sure he's one of King Regis's original Kingsguard.
He's kind of like the Hand from Game of Thrones.
Yes, kind of. And in the same way, Ignis, Prompto, and Gladiolus are your guards. I think Core was one of the original Kingsguards.
I still think my favorite part about seeing the Warp Strike is the fact that you can use it both for combat and traversal. I fucking love
I love this. This is a Dragoon there, and she says, "Hey, pretty boy." So good. The gameplay, man, just fantastic.
I recently played Platinum Demo.
Did you?
Yeah, I very much so enjoyed it.
So is
so
that
much like
final
Kingdom
part of Platinum Demo going to be how the game is probably going to be?
No, it's a completely separate experience.
But,
Solo.
like the combat and everything like that in the final part when you're actually...
The combat in the final part is similar to how it will be in the final game, yeah.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah. That there was Titan at the end, another one of the summons that you can grab. And then this was a real special reveal at the Uncovered Conference. Florence and the Machine has remade
Still not on Spotify.
Stand By Me for Final Fantasy 15. This is actually made for the game, which I think is so cool. And this
They've been doing it lately with like the past couple.
yeah. And this part of the trailer is just fabulous. I did the environments and everything, just unbelievable looking.
What's really cool is that for Final Fantasy 13, they did Leona Lewis's
My Hands.
My Hands, but that was on her album already. That wasn't specifically made for the Final Fantasy game. So I really
Right.
like that they took an existing song and Florence did this without having to release a whole new album. I thought that was really cool.
That's
The game just
Altissia
looks
there.
really cool. That's crazy.
That's Altissia again, which is almost like the Florence of this game, I want to say.
I was just gonna say with all the waterways
Yeah.
and canals and stuff. Yeah.
You also have the tent and whatnot that you can camp in.
I love the car because then it turns into a fucking plane.
Spoiler alert.
I'm just so excited about it.
I like that too, that another car passes you by there. It just makes the world feel alive.
The best part about this game to me, I think I'm literally just gonna spend most of my hours just driving.
I know,
just
right?
driving around, like hanging out with people and dining.
So many NPCs on screen there, which is really cool in that town. That pinball machine is going to be a mobile game that you can download on your iPhone or play in game.
Yeah, what is it, like something
Does that have a
5,
date
right?
yet? I don't think it does, right?
I don't think so. You can see Noctis there is actually sleeping against his chocobo, which I think is awesome as well. Dynamic weather, that shot there. Oh man, so good.
Looks like Pride Rock he's walking to.
The water, everything, man, just so beautiful.
Really, this entire game is just a
Disney
Kingdom
spoof,
Hearts
yeah.
crossover.
Oh my god, if at the end it's like, Sora, we need you, and he fucking jumps through a portal.
Boats and hoes, guys. Boats and
How come
hoes.
the boat can't fly? I want to fly a boat.
I think it's awesome that there's boats in this game, not just car ships.
No, but the car ship's pretty fucking rad.
Yes, as we're about to see right now. This made me nerdgasm during the conference.
You know what's funny is I was
I'm
really
like, ready for
afraid
what?
that people like you weren't gonna like it. That you were gonna feel.
Oh no, them doing anything at all like this was going to make me happy because I was kind of preparing myself for them not to do anything. You know,
I just can't wait.
I can't wait either, man.
I'm so excited.
Recently in interviews, they talked about the car airship, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people were concerned that once you took off from the ground, it would just go to like a menu where you would choose a location and it wouldn't be truly an airship. But they said no, like you fly up and have complete control of this thing. You can go up, down, like all over the world. It's like really.
Did you crash
really cool.
into a enemy to get a head
They
start?
said there's no in-air battling, at least not gameplay-wise. There might be some cutscene type stuff, like story-wise, but there's no air combat with the car. But what's really cool as well is they said landing the car ship is something that you're gonna have to like really figure out because it's touchy. Like you have to like landing an airplane. You like have to go down slow and find like an area where you can land, and like I think that's so cool.
Oh my god!
No, I'm just gonna get close to the ground and then
all
jump
of
out.
my party members all the time.
Right. That's all I do in Battlefield. I just get close to the ground, jump out, and hope everything lands right.
Yeah, I think the only slight disappointment that I have, and it's really very slight because I'm just so happy that we have airships at all, is that you can't go into the airship. Like one of like the cool things about past Final Fantasy games is that it was like this cool thing that you owned, right? Where you could go into it and you had like sleeping quarters and you could like go to the bathroom and like it was like it felt like a home, you know what I mean? Like you would go inside and it was like your home in the sky.
I love games that have like a base of operations.
Yeah,
Like
so this one it's just something that you fly in the sky, but still it's more than I think a lot of people ever expected. So Glino says
666 oh,
yes,
okay.
go ahead.
Yeah. Are you all Final Fantasy fans? If so, what's your favorite title? Mine is Kingdom Hearts, the original.
That doesn't count.
It does.
No, it doesn't. What's your favorite Final
if I had
Fantasy?
Mine would be 10 because that's the only one I played really. And
7
I haven't
hours
yet
of
to
it.
finish but, yeah, but it's so awesome. I'm loving it so far.
You should definitely get back to it, man.
I have to. I'm going back to it after Ratchet. I
It
think.
gets better. It really does too. I know that you
I don't want to wear
think it.
myself out on Final Fantasy before 15 though. That's my biggest fear.
Okay,
I
think
get that. I would wait. I would personally say at this point, considering the fact he's dragging his feet this much to being, an ass.
at the same time they are
That's-
so drastically different to the
Yeah.
point where Final Fantasy X is actually the last turn-based, true
Mm-hmm.
turn-based Final Fantasy. They haven't done anything like that in such a long time, and now Final
That's
Fantasy
what I'm loving
15.
the most about it is the combat and like.
Yeah, it's great, but it's so
Ooh,
much
my
different.
girl.
Turn-based versus full action RPG like Final Fantasy 15.
Like you can alternate because that's the one thing I like is that's what I'm doing right now with Legend of Dragoon. I'm playing like all these other games. I'm playing Division. I'll play stuff on the Wii U, and then I'll go to Legend of Dragoon for that nostalgic kick. The old school a little bit. It's more of a slow gameplay style, but it has a completely different feel than these action RPGs.
Right.
Yeah.
Strife Girl says we have a new ATR next week. That means active time report. Really excited for that. There's gonna be even more news about Final Fantasy 15. They're just going all out right now with
Oh,
Uncovered.
there's ATVs in Final Fantasy 15.
No,
Greg, shut up.
there's
Stop talking.
not. I don't know what you're
I'm
saying.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Uh,
you said
There's
ATR.
Chocobos.
ATR, yes. There are Chocobros as well. So ATR next week. We had the Game Informer article. We had the Uncovered conference. Those were all both awesome. As for my favorite Final Fantasy, it would be 7 followed by 9, and I don't think Mike has one.
3.
3, yeah, the one you played on DS, right?
Yeah,
That's
I like
cool.
that a lot. I like the medieval ones. That's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, I do wish they would go back to high fantasy at some point. No, I actually agree. I would like them to go back to the high fantasy at some point in the future. I'm okay with the modernistic Final Fantasy 15. I hope 16 is a really big change, or maybe like a return to the roots for them now. All right, moving on. We are now moving on to topic number 3, which belongs to... Who is that? Michael, this is you, man.
Fine. Yes. So, what do you guys feel caused the failure, and the crazy failure as it was, of the PlayStation Move and the PlayStation Eye camera for the PS3?
So many. I know, right? Where to begin?
Here's the thing. You got to remember, too, let's build up a little bit of preface to this. It wasn't the first time a company has introduced peripherals. It wasn't the first time Sony introduced peripherals. On the PlayStation 1, they had the light gun, and while it didn't succeed in sales-wise, it had a lot of games that actually used it, and they used it well. They actually knew what it was used for.
Right.
The PlayStation 2 didn't have too many peripherals besides like dance pads, because we were in the dance game phase and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was all about that. But
I love me some dance pads. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I bet you did, Greg. But then you had the Wii, and the Wii was a weird one. The Wii actually added a peripheral as its main controller, and it took off like fucking crazy. And no generation has ever seen that. Everybody else has followed the console, with the controller hype. And then this one was like, hey, we're going to give you a remote that, guesses your gesture. And everybody was like, we have to do this. And whether or not they were already thinking of creating something like that, the Wii did it, and it actually was pretty bad. The Wii's controller was terrible in comparison to the PlayStation Move, yet for some reason the Wii sold like hotcakes, and the PlayStation Move barely sold the same amount that the Wii would sell in a month.
I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say right off the bat, the investment, I think, is what got to people. There was so much of... The reason why the Wii was so successful is because they didn't have to fucking bundle in a camera with any of their motion controls. It was a sensor bar. So there wasn't the expense of having to build a camera, put the camera in there, let alone use it for a microphone, which so many of the PlayStation Move games utilized the microphone. I remember in Sorcery, you could like shout out the spells in the first iteration. I'm like, what is this? Like, it's not what I want to be doing in a game. I'm like, Expelliarmus! Like, I'm not actually Harry Potter. Like, what?
Right, I actually got even more pissed off because when I had seen it, actually, so at the time, a buddy of mine had worked for a very small, but decently well online gaming news site, and he had actually gotten invitations to Nintendo World Store for their private event for the 2005 screening or 2006 screening when they announced the official Wii and everything like that. We went up there, we played it, and you were actually able to grab the Wii remote and pull it back, and like go, kind of like how the Wii Sports with the Move Sports or whatever it was, the Move Archery.
Yeah.
The game came out and you were just going point click, and that was all you did. So it actually lied in advance of what it was going to do, I guess, because they didn't feel it worked that well. But yet the Move did it almost perfectly.
Yeah.
The archery game was great.
Yeah, in general, the Move was really great technology, and we know that now because they're still using it. They're going to be using it with Project Morpheus, aka PlayStation VR, because it's good technology. It's really one-to-one movement.
Glino said, Move ain't done yet with the VR around the corner. No.
Yeah.
Move was dead. We're just reviving its scraps. Like, we're just basically picking up all the leftover stuff that they have from them and saying, no, listen, this is the potential that it had. No one just realized what it could do.
Here's the thing, is I do think that when they created the PlayStation Move, they were hoping that it could succeed at that point, but it wasn't created with the sole purpose of being this Wii copy, because we found out now that PlayStation VR has been in development since 2009, which is around when PlayStation Move came out. So they clearly had this intention to eventually use it with PlayStation VR, and we're seeing their second phase of PlayStation Move plans now. But I think we can all agree that their first phase failed tremendously.
Oh yeah.
I also want to pause for a second and thank a few people for subbing to our YouTube, because we're out now at 99 subs.
What?
Guys,
One more. Thank you to
one friggin' more.
Nairo, Camilo, and In Your Intel for our most recent YouTube subs. If you guys are in the room, really, really appreciate that. Just one more YouTube sub. We're going to give out 1,000 XP to the chat room, and it will also help us in what we're trying to do. which we're not going to say just yet, but please share the show, guys. Share our YouTube. Try and get one more person to follow that channel. All right.
I'll put hashtag Subbercut.
Subbercuts. That's all Mel. We do not condone her actions, but she will track you down and cut
I
you.
will
She
laugh.
cuts you with a keyblade.
I don't condone it, but I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Yeah. So I liked PlayStation Move in like sports champions and stuff like that because you're right, man. The ping pong, the archery, the frisbee golf, it showed that the technology was there, that it worked. And it's a shame that it came out too late. If it was going to be successful, it needed to release alongside the Wii is the problem. It felt like a copy. It felt like a copycat thing.
Which just sucks for them because the Wii could shell out all of its units so much quicker, like I said, because there wasn't a camera attachment. There was just a sensor bar that you basically taped on top of your television or on your TV.
It is a little unfair that I started comparing it to the Wii because it was, I mean, the Wii was also, what, $250. The Wii was...
Was it that much when it first launched?
Yeah, I think it was. I think they got the really low price point to undercut everybody else, which is why everybody was so pissed that the Wii U is still at $250 player. At this point in the Wii's life cycle, it was at like 200, 250.
I didn't realize it launched at that. I thought it launched at 200. That's
but it also came with those peripherals, whereas with the PlayStation, you had to buy the $300, $350 console plus the $50 Move accessories and everything like that. We also forgot to talk about the PlayStation Eye. We haven't really said anything about that. That's another thing that Microsoft had to connect. And again, we know that it was kind of made in the mind of we need something to track the VR headset and everything like that. But it was again a great idea. Like I remember, if you guys remember the iToy, or not the iToy, the VR Pet.
Yeah,
iPad. Pets, I had the baby monkey.
Yeah, they had the iPad and they had the card game, if you remember, with the augmented reality. They had a few decent things. iPad was pretty neat and it had some cool augmented reality stuff. And the card game, I can't remember the name of it. I think Eye of Judgment, maybe. Eye
of Judgment. That's what it was, and it was expensive as shit. I think it was like $100, but it was basically Magic the Gathering meets Yu-Gi-Oh. Because you would put your cards down and they would show up on the TV and everything like that and animate your table. And that was badass. And I wanted that so bad. I love stuff like that. But it was one of those things where I feel like it was just an odd thing. So I guess what I was asking with my question is, what do you think other companies have done to sell their goofy, gimmicky peripherals that Sony hasn't?
Kinect is something that, for the most part, succeeded. The original Kinect on the Xbox 360, I think it sold like 25 million units, which would definitely be considered a success. I think the marketing, for one, Sony, that PS3 generation, Sony's marketing was dreadful with pretty much everything they did, and the Move was not an exception. Yeah.
That's what always pissed me off.
It felt like it was sent out there to die. Like they didn't really have plans to try and make it succeed. They just wanted to, I don't know. Maybe they were like, we have this thing, it's in development for PlayStation VR, but why don't we just release it now as like I don't know, like a stepping stone or something. It didn't feel like there was an investment there, unfortunately.
No, I agree. That's the biggest problem with everything. Sony never advertises shit.
Yeah.
When they do, it's very scarce, and it doesn't really give the clear message that they wanted to. With the exception of, but that was also what's weird is that it was also PlayStation. That PS3 was actually Sony's golden age of advertising.
Yeah.
That was when we had Kevin Butler. That was when
you had some good times.
We had that weird white room with the black goo. That took over.
That was the bad stuff at the beginning. The Kevin Butler stuff was good. I agree with that. But how often did you actually see the commercials on television? And how often did you?
I saw it all the time. But that's the thing is, I remember my favorite commercial, and this is going to kind of connect me to my last point. But so I won't talk on too much. But my favorite commercial was Kevin Butler when he has freaking move gun for the SOCOM game.
See, that was an online commercial, though, for the most part. I remember that being like a 2-minute commercial that you saw online. Yeah, they had a 30-second TV spot, but I never saw that on TV. I saw it online. I do remember that, and I liked it. I liked all the Kevin Butler stuff. But I don't feel like I almost ever saw anything PlayStation Move related on TV around that time, and that just could have been my experience, anecdotal. But I just feel like they didn't really push it, as they did with most things that generation.
I saw it constantly, but yeah, their advertising was terrible. Fun fact, my Xbox gamer tag, my quote is still Viva Kevin Butler.
Really?
Viva Kevin Butler. God rest your soul.
He went to Nintendo.
My Xbox gamer tag, if it still exists, is Break It Down Poof. Love my life.
Mine was the notorious AJM.
Why? What?
Yeah. I had an Xbox for about 3 months.
Oh my
Yeah, you
God.
did.
I
There's
tried.
So many
I
questions
tried.
within that statement,
It
Drew. I
just
don't know
wasn't
where
for
to
me.
begin with that.
It wasn't for me. I got it because if I remember right, it was like really cheap at the time and on sale, and like my cousins and whatnot were all really big Xbox guys. And they're
That's
like,
how I got
they
it.
wanted me to play Halo with them and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and I did a few times. It's just like it's just not me.
Yeah.
I'm a PlayStation guy.
That's how I got dragged into it.
360
too.
was a great console.
It was. It was. It just wasn't my kind of console.
Agreed.
Probably never will be with Microsoft and Xbox. PlayStation
I will
just has
say
the stuff I
though,
like.
moving forward, it's not so much of an advertising thing, but using the PlayStation Move, I still use it all the time when my friends come over for Just Dance. I still use it all the time. And with the PlayStation 4 camera, it's just like a little subtle thing that I think the PS3 camera never utilized. I used it a lot for the what did they call the Tomb Raider? It wasn't was it Definitive Edition?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like an HD remaster. They called it that random nonsense. But when they did the definitive edition of Tomb Raider,
was it an HD remaster? I thought it was.
so like every other thing was like the HD collection of Sly. But
Oh,
they
you mean
called
the-
theirs the
okay.
definitive edition. Yeah, I don't know why they named it something obscure. But my favorite part of that game was every time I would be like in cover or something, and I'd have my like crosshairs nailed down on like I'm about to shoot this guy in the head with my arrow. I'd be like, Laura, switch to AK-47 or something, and she would swap out the gun, and it would
Yeah.
be me like saying it. That was fucking.
No, there are
awesome.
some clever things, and even just the torchlight and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
the little light bar on the PlayStation
too.
4, just for the little things like that. I love it in Grand Theft Auto when the cops are chasing you and it's flashing
Yeah.
red and blue. And I want to go to the chat room real quick because I think this would be fun. It reminds me of Emily is Away with the AIM screen names, which was a really fun game. What were your guys' AIM screen names?
Yeah, mine was as terrible as my gamer tag. Mine was Break It Down Poof.
Break it down, poof.
That one's
It was from Black Eyed Peas, Break It Down from I Got a Feeling. There's a line that will.i.am says in that song. Oh, look at my baby
And
monkey.
before you knew that it was a gay slur, everybody called you poop, and you loved it.
Well, I had an afro in high school. I had a little
That's not why
macho
she
fro.
called you it.
It goes
That's
two
not
ways,
why
yeah.
She called you it.
Well, we found out, didn't we, everybody? Surprise!
What about you, Mike? What was yours?
Was it?
Was it Wake Up to This?
Yeah, it was Wake Up to This.
Was that always your screen name?
No, I had so many. I was so emo in high school too. There was Fate Has Failed.
Oh my god.
There was
That is
Uh,
that's very emo.
Awesome.
That's very emo.
Fate has failed? I
yeah, that was the other
remember.
one I used.
Hope
and
is a lie.
and Everwinter Night.
Everwinter Nights. Wow. Did you play Neverwinter Nights or something? What was that?
I don't know why I did it because what's funny is I
Everwinter Night
made
and
it before I
Fate
ever
has-
heard of it.
He was like, because it sounded cool and emo. That's
Yeah.
why. Pretty much.
He
Uh,
said Fate has failed. I just
Yeah,
can't
dude, I told
believe
you I
it's
was
a
crazy
name.
fucking. I was in the whole like hardcore emo scene when I was a freshman and sophomore in high school.
I want to thank Lino for the YouTube sub. We're now actually at 101. We did give 1,000 XP to the entire chat room.
Awesome.
As for my AIM screen name, it's very fitting. It was Titus135. Titus from Final Fantasy X.
My boy.
That was mine, and then eventually it became Drew M 1588. I think. I was never like, I don't know. I was never that guy that had like real
No,
quirky screen names or anything like that. I was pretty straightforward with my stuff.
Notorious AJM.
Stretch Bro, yes, I actually did have long hair in my face.
Yeah, and the only reason it was Notorious AJM is because literally when I got my Xbox, my cousins chose my name for me. I was gonna do Drew M 1788, and they were like, "You can't do Drew M 1788. That's so boring." And I was like, "All right, choose my screen name." They're like, "The Notorious AJM." I'm like,
What I,
All right,
what I
then.
picture when you said that was you with your Xbox controller in hand looking into the mirror and just singing like Biggie. Like fucking like ghetto as shit.
2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. How do we want to wrap up this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what was with all the hate that we had for? What was the actual thing with the move that you actually did like?
I think that it really is a 1-to-1
Yeah.
controller, man. They did not fail on that aspect, and we're seeing it now. I can't wait to use these freaking controllers with
Stuff like
PlayStation
Dreams.
VR. Yeah. Oh my God, that is the best thing you could have said. Yes. No, you're right. Like that is so cool. Watching the making of stuff with Media Molecule and how they're using it to sculpt,
Yeah.
and the guys like spinning shit and like
Right.
raving and whatnot. I'm like, what the
He just did,
hell?
like, a light glove
He-
show.
that's what it's like. He's like he's raving. It's like, what the hell is happening right now? It's amazing. I can't wait to use that freaking
And
PlayStation
what I'm
Move
really
controller.
happy about is I've been reading a lot of reviews on IGN and on GameSpot, whatnot, about all the VR games that are coming out recently. Chronos just got this is for the Oculus Rift, but like the fact that PlayStation Move is going to be implemented with the PlayStation VR system, I feel like it's going to make all those VR games so much like more enthralling and more special. Just because of the kit, like Drew said, it's the one-on-one interaction. And with games getting all these reviews of such high numbers in VR, I'm just only stoked to see what happens. P.S. I will call out all the people that played me on Wii and Just Dance and then failed miserably when they came to PlayStation Move because of the one-to-one tracking. I was like, oh, that's weird. Can't keep up now, can you? Because on Wii, all you would have to do is this.
We got about 30 seconds to answer this question. If PlayStation allowed you to change your tag, would you? And what would it be?
Nope.
No. My name is just Greg Virgo.
I wanted to so bad for the longest time, but everybody seems to really like it. I just got really bored with it for a while.
Yeah, I would be Drew M1788.
Yours makes so much sense, though, Drew. And so, wait, no, so does Greg's. There's no reason for you guys to change it. So.
Mine's Greg_Virgo. I don't know why I switched that.
Mine doesn't. It doesn't. The reason it's Drew M1788 is because when I first created that screen name on probably AIM or something like that, it's because I was 17 years old at the time. I was born in '88. I was 17 years old, and I just decided never to change it with moving forward. And anything that I did, even though I've grown up, it's still going to be 1788. Always will be.
Like that.
Mail time.
Mail time.
You guys can tweet at us every month with hashtag IUDP if you want to be a feature question like this one. Dear It Only Does PlayStation, do you think Sony will release exclusive titles for PS4K, aka PS4? If not, would you still buy the new PS4K that comes from Strife Girl LP, aka Mel? Thank you, Mel. You are awesome. What do you guys think?
Exclusive meaning like
only playable on PlayStation 4K.
Oh my god, I would hate that. I would hate it. I would hate it.
Like, what if God of War 4 comes out this holiday and it's only on PlayStation 4K?
That's what I was just going to say. It depends on what the exclusive series would be that would make me invest in the console itself.
Right, yeah.
The one that I go back to always for me is the fact of the matter of why I bought an Xbox 360. They were the only console that had Mass Effect at the time and Left 4 Dead. So I bought an Xbox 360 solely to play those two games. And those are the only two games I ever played on Xbox 360, with the exception of Shadow Complex, which is coming soon, by the way. But if they release something like a God of War or like an Uncharted, anything from Naughty Dog, basically, I would invest. And normally, at this shelling out right now, like if there's no trade-in program or anything, like it sucks so much, but I think I would upgrade to the 4K.
Yeah,
no, sucks. It's crazy to me, but like.
I'm going to really, really try and stay true to not getting this thing. And honestly, if they pull that kind of shit, I'm just going to be really, really disappointed. I think that would just be... I'll be
pissed, but I'll still buy it.
It'd be so shady if they did that kind of thing. Because if they do, it's just because they're trying to force people to upgrade. I'm so concerned about this thing.
I don't know. I'm still torn. I'm not going to lie. I feel like it does suck in many ways, but I think I see the reasons to why they're doing it a little bit more than a lot of other people do. Like, I think it sucks. I don't think it's a great situation to be in, but I think that there is a lot of validity to why they would need to do this. And I feel like the fact that apparently developers have it already and don't seem to be causing much of an issue with it. Yeah, we haven't.
Oh no, you're wrong there, man.
Really?
Really wrong. Yeah, developers hate it. Every single developer that's talked about it said that they are not happy about it.
I haven't seen.
I haven't seen one developer who has commented on it and saying that this is a good thing. They all say it's a bad thing from a development standpoint. It's a bad thing from a consumer standpoint. They've got to develop the game twice now. Really, is what they're saying. It's not like a simple thing.
And the thing that gets me is like all these games that are in development currently for the PlayStation 4. Like you're fucking everybody by doing this. Like you're not just fucking the consumer that way. You're fucking the developer who's making the game for your product. Like that's just rude to me. It's like almost like. I get the thing itself, and I get that argument. Like, the PS4K in its concept and everything is awesome. Just don't do it 3 years after you release your brand new console, which is your best-selling console of all time, which is fucking doing phenomenally well. Like, you shouldn't even had a leak of this come out.
Right, well, that's
now it's just a mindset of, like, it's insane. It's insane.
Right, that's the issue I do have, is that it was so quick. Like, if they had done it a year or two from now, I might have been a little bit more okay with it. The biggest thing that I said, and I'll just repeat it quickly again, there are technological advances that you would get that you would need for a VR to actually stay relevant. The PSVR will be close to outdated in many ways from what we're seeing on the tech aspects of it and what we're hearing from firsthand accounts of what it
Yeah, but
actually
that's the
was.
thing is what I'm hearing from anybody who's playing it. The graphics aren't like unbelievable, but it controls really really well.
Right.
It feels great. It's 60 to 90 frames per second, sometimes even 120 frames per second, and looks like a high quality PS3 game. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's great for the first product, the first iteration of this thing. When PlayStation 5 truly comes out, yeah, then go all out and make this a PlayStation VR, console. But right now, it feels like the only reason they're doing it is to combat the NX. I mean, if the rumors are true, we're going to talk about it this Sunday on the Level Up show. We're hearing that the NX is considerably more powerful than the PS4. Like, it's a noticeable difference. And maybe Sony knows this, and they're like, we can't let Nintendo ever be the most powerful console. They haven't been for how long? And maybe Xbox, we're hearing rumors that they're doing it as well. Maybe they're both doing this because they want to become even with Nintendo. Nintendo got into this thing where they're like, we're that mid-generation thing. We're 3 years after you, or 3 years before you, depending on how you want to look at it. Maybe Sony and Microsoft are like, enough of this shit. We are combating you directly, and that means releasing a mid-generation console to combat the NX.
I mean, it's a thing that makes sense, like, in the idea of it and everything. I completely understand that aspect of it. Like, that's smart on their part to go from a business standpoint and do that. But at the end of the day, it's not the console that produces, and they should know this. With the exception of the Wii, there's no console that has excelled on its own, and now the PS4, I guess you could say too, on its own without the software to back it up. Like, the Wii, everybody knows Wii fucking Sports, but then what was the hardcore game on Wii that everybody played?
Right.
Like, that just sucks. Like, there's no game that I think of on the Wii where I was like, you guys needed a Wii to play this. Like, and that's sad.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm really concerned with and confused by is that Sony hasn't said anything about it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird.
I'm thinking
Especially
they're
because
holding
it's
out for
getting
E3.
so much hate. But they can't. They're getting...
They're doing it.
Yeah, but I mean...
It's possible.
For it with the sales.
I think they're losing. I think honestly that they probably are losing some sales off of this, because I know plenty of people on NeoGAF and whatnot that are saying that they're playing the waiting game right now. They're not going to buy a new PS4 until they know what's going on with this PS4K.
My best friend I went to high school with just texted me, and he was like, oh, I was reading something about a PS 4.5. Like, should I not buy... He was buying the Uncharted 4 bundle, and he had it pre-ordered. So he went to GameStop, and he canceled his pre-order of the bundle, because he's like, I'm not buying a console that's just going to release, like, if at the end of this year, possibly.
Yep.
I'm like, no, Kyle, I'm like, you have to play Uncharted 4. I'm trying to convince him, but it sucks, because, like, what am I supposed to say? I don't know anything, you know what I mean?
Yep. All right. Before we move into topic number 4, we're going to take another quick commercial break, guys. So hold on tight. Your average psych will be back in approximately 60 seconds.
That was good.
Welcome back, Level Uppers, to It Only Does PlayStation, Episode 8. This is a Level Up Network's dedicated PlayStation talk show on once every month. We are about to move on to topic number 4, but before
What have
that...
we been doing the show for 8 months?
We have been doing it for 8 months.
Oh my
And that's
God,
why
episode 8?
you guys should follow us, because we're going to be doing it for another 8 months.
That's so sweet.
Go to twitch.tv/The Level Up Show. Hit that heart button if you want to shout outs. Go to our YouTube as well. We hit the big goal. We hit 100 subs. We gave 1,000 XP to the chat room. Thank you so much to everybody who subbed to our YouTube. I'm going to read them all right now because that's a big deal. All right, so we had David R, Roy H, Glyno, who's in the chat. We had Nox Forever, Vatak, Nairo Camillo, On Your Intel, and Primal Instincts. Thank you so much for the YouTube subs. Keep them coming, guys. We're still
Props
trying
for
to.
you.
Just because we hit 100 doesn't mean we're going to stop. We still need to build up back to where we were, which is
Your
1,500.
next goal is 1,000.
Yes.
Do it.
Do it now. And we're going to move on to topic number 4. Dean is not here, so he doesn't have a topic. That's why we're going to finish. We're going to finish off our series that we've been doing over the past several episodes. Best of. We did PlayStation 2 last month. That means this month is PlayStation 1.
Yeah, I actually have a vote.
Top 10 PlayStation 1 games. Exclusive. Have to be 100% exclusive. So here's a list of the Metacritic top games.
Can we get out of the way first?
What?
We are each going to pick one game that has to be on this list, and then we will divvy out the other 2.
Well, we have 10 games. We haven't had an issue with that in the past.
Yeah, we've always done that.
I thought we were. Oh, I forgot. We're only doing 5 on
With
the
the
show.
PlayStation stuff, we've been doing 10.
Yeah.
So ranking PS1 exclusives. This is Metacritic's ranking. Number 1 was Tekken 3. Then you got Gran Turismo 1 and 2, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, Chrono Cross. This is how they were ranked on Metacritic. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Tekken 3 is the best rated game on PlayStation 1.
A little crazy to me.
Yeah, Chrono Cross, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Wipeout XL, Parappa the Rapper. You've got Colony Wars, Tomb Raider, Spyro the Dragon, Resident Evil, Legacy of Kain, Crash Bandicoot, Ape Escape, Siphon Filter.
I'm gonna add Tony Hawk's Pro Skater to that list.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I don't know if we can consider that exclusive.
I thought it was.
It came out on N64 as well, but I think it came out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was like Tony Hawk 64 or something like that.
Yeah, but it was still the same game. That's the thing. That's the reason I didn't put it in there, is that I'm not quite sure we would count it as an exclusive.
Yeah, but then at that point, you can't say Final Fantasy. I don't know. You can't say like some of these other ones are.
Final Fantasy 7 is console exclusive to PlayStation.
You're right. Final Fantasy 7 is. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But you have, like you said, you have. Well, I mean, you have them on mobile now. Like, there's other ones that you've got on other systems.
Same with Tomb Raider. That was console exclusive. I think there's like a statute of limitations there. Like if it's 15 years later, I think it's okay. We can say it was PlayStation exclusive. I'm just saying like it was within like a year or so that Tony Hawk went to N64. Yeah. I don't know. That's the only reason I was thinking maybe not include that one.
Would that have been your one game anyway, though, Mike?
Probably.
What?
Because it was a game I played more than anything else.
You crazy. I'm throwing out there immediately Resident Evil has to be on this list.
Okay.
Sorry, it has to. Resident Evil, as far as creating its own fucking genre in games, number 1. Number 2, to still nostalgia reasons, still truly one of the most terrifying games I've ever played. When those dogs came through the window of the glass, never forget it. Number 1, number 2. Yep. What's her face? The fucking girl that has her hands in the chains. I forget her name.
Oh, I knew something was missing. Chris MX said Twisted Metal.
Yeah, not ranked very highly at all. Not high enough to even show up.
I think Wipeout was better than Twisted Metal.
But yeah, Twisted Metal definitely deserves some mention. But
my bad.
It wasn't even close to the same game. Wipeout isn't even nearly the same.
One's car combat and one's racing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One on screen right now is amazing. Chrono Cross is one of the best games on PlayStation, in my opinion. I don't know if it's the one I would vote in. I think it will make it into the top 10. I'd be very surprised if we don't keep that in the top 10. But if I had to say one, I'm not going to say Final Fantasy 7 because I'm going to play a smart game here. I know that's going to make it anyway. I don't need to say that one. Metal Gear Solid's going to make it. I don't need to say that one.
I love how I like when Drew does the list because he has like 6 games that he's like, I don't even have to fucking say. And I'm like, we're only doing a list of 5. I'm like, how does that make sense?
We're doing a list of 10. This shouldn't be that hard.
We're doing a list of 10.
No matter what, it's not a big deal.
I would honestly, I'm going to say Chrono Cross. That one needs to be on the list for me because that's the only one of the ones here that I really, really love that I think you guys might try to argue against. So I'm going to say Chrono Cross.
2 in the chat, Funeral Party said Toomba, and
not bad.
The Tack said Jet Moto, which both of those I liked, but I wouldn't say that they were in the top 10.
No, I wouldn't either, but they are good.
I'm giving you right now, Resident Evil's on this list. Crash Bandicoot's on this list. Wipeout's on this list. I'll give you Final Fantasy 7.
Why is Wipeout on the list?
I fucking loved Wipeout. I loved
Yeah,
Wipeout.
But it wasn't a top 10 game. I played it a lot. Or not a lot, but I played it enough.
As far as racers go on that, though, it was my favorite racer on the PlayStation.
Gran Turismo was a better game than Wipeout.
I played Gran Turismo. It wasn't for me not as better. I like the futuristic
like
feel
more-
of
Yeah, I've never been a simulation racer. That's why I don't like Gran Turismo.
Yeah, but Gran Turismo was still definitely. I mean, it's a
Yeah, it's definitely one of the
bison,
best.
but it's definitely and like you have it. It's number 2 on the list. It's definitely the better. I don't love simulation racers, but it's definitely at the time much better game than any of the other ones. For me, Spyro the Dragon has to be on there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What about Crash Bandicoot?
Crash Bandicoot has to be. I feel like in general, Greg said it as well.
He was the mascot of the console. He
Right.
has to be on the top
Well, here,
10
let's
list
go
of PlayStation
through.
1
Are we
exclusives.
gonna? Here's what we should do. We should probably go about.
We have
what
to eliminate 7.
Get, right. So what are 7 that we could get off?
Let's
Can we
get
say
off Rap of the Rapper
that
by
Power Up with the Rapper?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't dislike the game, but it's not top 10. in my
No, it was
opinion.
definitely genre defining in some ways for me, but it wasn't like a top 10 game. It was just something to remember.
Right.
Ape Escape?
Yeah, I like it and all, but I wouldn't put it in top 10.
Oh, I like Davis game. Yeah, but it's not top 10. You're right. But I really like it.
Legacy of Kain, good series. Wouldn't put it in the top 10.
Your average psych said, "Here we go, 4 out of 5."
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, what do you want me to say, man? Go on Metacritic or Game Rankings. The top 10 is always going to be Chrono Cross, Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 8, Xenogears, like Suikoden. Like those are the top games on PlayStation. So
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
also
so
the demographic of who's going to comment. At the same time, most of the people that are actually commenting on that are the same type of people that would be like, "I love those games where I was a kid." Whereas me, I've never commented on any of those.
I'm just saying, if you
Yeah.
go to Metacritic, Game Rankings, like critical reviews, those are the
True.
top games.
True.
So Legacy of Kain, I would get off there, even though it's a great series. And fun
I think
fact,
I will.
is directed by Amy Hennig.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
that dirty bitch.
Colony Wars is
I don't even know what that is.
It's got a cult
Yeah.
following, but not
Yeah,
something
it's
I was
a
ever
great
into.
game, but it's not.
I never even heard of that game
Yeah.
until this moment.
How many do we have?
We have 12 currently. We have
12?
Tekken 3, Gran Turismo 1 and 2, Final Fantasy games, Chrono Cross, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, Wipeout, Tomb Raider, Spyro, Resident Evil, Crash, and Siphon Filter.
I would get
We
rid of
just take
Siphon
out one
Filter.
We have to get rid of one of the racing games.
I would
We're
say
not
get rid of
too-
Wipeout and Siphon Filter,
What?
and I love Siphon.
Are we
Filter.
considering Twisted Metal to be possible here?
Wipeout is the best out of all the car stuff, I feel. I
No.
love Wipeout.
Dude, I know you love Wipeout, but I'm saying in general, Twisted Metal. How many? I don't know.
I played Twisted Metal. It was car combat. It was like, okay, this is different. It's cool. Wipeout was so much more fun.
Personally, I would rather see Twisted Metal on there than Gran Turismo, and I would rather see Gran Turismo than Wipeout.
Drew, do you have an opinion
I don't
on any
know.
of these?
Not really, because I've never really been into any of those games. I do want to comment on Star Ocean. Star Ocean will not be in here. I did play Star Ocean Second Story, but it's not my JRPG hill to die on. So, not gonna vote. Not gonna go hard on that one. But yeah, that's up to you guys. I could go this entire list without putting a racing game on there. I'm not into racing games.
Yeah, I mean,
played
I don't need it-
Wipeout so much. I love Wipeout. And Wipeout 2048 on the Vita just did everything that fucking XL did, but better.
Yeah, but dude, that doesn't mean anything. I love the original Spider-Man game on the PS1. That was probably actually realistically. Oh my god, I fucking forgot Legend of Dragoon. Legend of Dragoon was gonna get shout out, but it's not gonna go. Oh man, I want it on base game.
Yeah, I don't think it's like it doesn't rank with those other JRPGs.
No, I guess it doesn't.
It's a fine game, but it's not up there with the other ones. Like there's ones JRPGs that I didn't even put on this list that are better than Legend of Dragoon. One of them being Vagrant Story, Xenogears, Suikoden, Star
Are we
Ocean.
taking Final Fantasy question and separating those games?
Yes, I think we
So
should.
those are 3 separate entries?
yeah.
The ones that I would try and get on
So
here
I
are
say we
7 and
take off-
9, but
So I say we take off Gran Turismo and Wipeout then, if we're breaking those up into 3 separate games.
yeah, I'm not going to try and get Final Fantasy 8 on here. That's my least favorite of
Are
the
we gonna try
PlayStation
to?
1.
I mean, I'm
7
gonna
has to
say
go on here,
if
even
we
I'll agree with
can,
that.
I want to get Twisted Metal on here
Okay.
because there's gonna be a lot of people that will agree with me. That
Yeah, I think Twisted Metal should be on here
hugely-
too, honestly. Of the 3, Gran Turismo, Wipeout, and Twisted Metal, I do think it should be Twisted Metal.
Dirty bastards. We're putting on Twisted Metal, kids.
Yeah, take off Wipeout and Gran Turismo.
I'm doing it!
I do want to point out, Greg, you were 8. Not even. I was 8. You were like 4,
I did show Tony Hawk in the video reel here, so
which is good. No, I'm glad that I got the mention. I don't know. I would have fought for it to be my pick of what had to be on here, but
Hey, if we were
Man, I
doing
missed
Breaks
that
Top
game.
10, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace would be on here.
Your average
I
like
was a
says
youngin. I was a
Twisted
youngin.
Metal was the big reveal at E3 a few years back. Hard to deny its impact. It
Right,
was a
without-
big reveal, but then look how it sold.
Right, it flopped
It
sales wise, but that was
flopped.
actually part of the
That was one of those games that's it's really unfortunate, and I feel bad for like David Jaffe. Is like everybody was like, "Give us Twisted Metal, give us Twisted Metal." The freaking
And then
ice cream
David
truck
Jaffe
rolls
and
out on
Smoke
stage.
Bomb.
Everybody flips shit. Nobody gives a shit when the game actually
Yeah.
comes out. It's like, why did you care so much and then not buy it?
Because it was just like, oh, look at what they did now.
Yeah, I don't know. That was
Crazy
weird.
cats.
Lino
We
wants to
got-
know
we
why
have
no
one more
Ridge
game.
Racer.
Oh, Ridge Racer was good.
Ridge Racer.
Because it was okay game.
Yeah.
We have to eliminate one more game. We have
Yes, we do.
Tekken 3, Final Fantasy 7, 9, Chrono Cross, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, Twisted Metal, Tomb Raider, Spyro, Resident Evil, Crash.
I say we get rid of Metal Gear Solid.
I was
Yeah, right.
okay. Fuck that. I say we get rid of Tekken.
You didn't even
Yeah.
play Metal Gear Solid.
Get rid of
You didn't
Tekken.
even
I'm not a
fuck
fighting guy.
Fuck
Wait,
that.
wait. Tekken was good.
I know, but we're not
Bye
fighting
to
fans here.
Tekken. What are you trying to take all those instead of Tekken? Thank you.
Is that your
Bye,
hill?
Tekken.
That's the hill you're gonna die on? Is Tekken?
Bye Tekken 3.
I understand it's honestly it's the highest rated PlayStation 1 game on like Metacritic game rankings, but I don't care about that game at all.
Suck a D, Tekken. And not even in the good way.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Guitar Freak brings up Klonoa. That was a fine platformer. I did like Klonoa.
Noah.
You have to look it up, but
What's
I liked it. I liked Klonoa.
Fan of that.
All right, so let's each give our top 5 of the 10 games that we've narrowed it down to.
Alright.
Is that good? All right, mine would be Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Metal Gear Solid, Chrono Cross.
He's not
Oof.
gonna say any of my top 5.
Oh man, my last one would be
Dude, we forgot to mention Medieval.
Medieval. Was fun and all.
That's a
I
game.
said mention it. I didn't say put it on the list.
That was fun. I guess. Oh man, this is tough. I need a second for number 5. Go ahead, somebody else.
Like, you go.
Fuck me.
Dean, would
My
you like to go?
my personal top 5 would be Castlevania,
Okay.
then Spyro, then Twisted Metal, then
Twisted
Crash,
Metal's in your top 5?
then Crash Bandicoot,
That's crazy to me.
and then it's either Tomb Raider or Final Fantasy VII
What?
for my top 5.
I think my number 5 would be Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, Mel, thank you. I agree.
My list is so different. Number 1, Resident Evil. Fucking love that game. That has to go higher than the lowest spot Resident Evil can be on this list for me to be happy is 6.
How do I time these things so well?
Oh my god, it's literally up on the screen. This is 2 though, isn't it?
This is,
this is
2, yeah.
Yeah, this is Leon. Resident Evil. Crash Bandicoot is my number 2. Tomb Raider, Spyro, Final Fantasy 7.
Okay. All right, so we have 10 here to work with. So we're all going to get our games on here. We just got to figure out how we're going to order them now. Right? I mean, we got our games.
I'm happy that Resident Evil is on this list.
Yeah, Resident Evil's going to be on the list.
It's not going lower than 6. I'll tell you
Spyro's
that.
going to be on the list. Crash is going to be on the list.
I do want to say Cool Borders is also worth a mention. If you guys put them in there, I'm going to shout them out if they're worth a mention. Just because they're great games. Cool Borders is
Mike
definitely worth
deems you
mentioning.
worthy.
No, serious. Like Cool Borders to me is probably what Wipeout was to Greg. I played the fuck out of.
Yeah, that was fun. I like Cool Borders.
More than any game, probably. Actually, probably almost as much as Tony Hawk.
I used to play that a lot. Yeah.
But it was not to a lot. Like people aren't always into the games like that, so I'm not going to say it's the best on the console.
Guys, number 10, Twisted Metal. Can we all agree on this?
No.
It's definitely going to be lower
It
for
has-
me.
Twisted Metal is either 9 or 10. I'm telling you that much right now.
Let's start from the top. Can we choose either Final Fantasy 7 or Metal Gear Solid as number 1? I feel like those are the ones that.
I'm okay with Final Fantasy 7 being 1.
Okay, I think
Yeah,
7
me
should be
too.
number 1.
I get that.
I think Metal Gear Solid should be number 2.
I'm
not starting to like harass you. I was young.
It's not my number 2. My number 2 would be Final Fantasy 9, but I think I'm not going to get 2 Final Fantasies in a row, obviously. So I would say Metal Gear Solid should be number 2.
I watched my brother play Metal Gear.
Well, if we're
Solid.
gonna go in the realm of fairness, I'm gonna say Castlevania should be number 2.
Let's pause this. We're gonna take a while.
You just got so serious.
Because I don't agree with it.
Let's
Said,
pause
"All right,
this.
Pausing this mail time.
Pause in the mail time.
It's a dirty bastard.
Warriors Odyssey was good. I bought it again. It sucks now. So at the time it was great. It has not aged in the way I would like it to.
I watched my brother play Metal Gear Solid, and then I watched my cousin play Castlevania. As opposed to me watching them both, I thought Metal Gear Solid was a better watching experience. If that
Oh
counts.
yeah, you can't. Castlevania is not something you would want to watch.
Yeah.
Oh.
I watched my brother play all the Metal Gear Solids.
No, Symphony Night's great, and probably could make it into top 5. It wouldn't be my top 5, but it's really great game.
That game was too hard for me.
So, what do you think, Greg? What would be your number 2, if not Metal Gear Solid?
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
That's why mine vote doesn't count in that. I was really young, like I said. I was the youngin in this, so it's really a battle between you two up until we get to like 6 through 10, because then those are the ones I'm going to be arguing. Because there's no way I'm winning an argument of Resident Evil and Crash Bandicoot above fucking Final Fantasy 9 or Metal
If you
Well, these
really,
are in any order.
if
Yeah.
you really want it that way, Mike, I'll agree to Symphony of the Night being number 2 if Metal Gear Solid's number 3.
Here's the thing. I was really more so busting balls, just because
I figured you were, because I find it hard to believe you think that Symphony of the Night is better than Metal Gear Solid.
Listen, I understand that I didn't play it, so I would be okay. I understand why Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy IX would definitely be before Castlevania,
Okay.
because they are better
Awesome.
games. What sucks is that
You said
it,
yes.
you know what sucks for it is that in my current state, like I wasn't in the way that Drew was at the time. I was more about goofing off and everything like that. I wasn't into a fucking serious story.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
too
I
young to
didn't
comprehend
watch it.
stories.
It wasn't that I was too young to comprehend. I just didn't care about it. I don't give a shit who the fuck dies. It wasn't until the latter years of the PS1 that I realized how great Final Fantasy VII was. So, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, all those things were
Yeah,
more.
Drew, I feel like you're a very niche consumer in the sense that, like, at your age, when you were playing all these games, like, you still
Yeah.
appreciate
I was
them
certainly
like what I
young
appreciate
for
games
liking
now.
those games. I'll agree with that,
Yeah.
but I wasn't
Yeah.
niche. I mean, Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid are huge games, and they sold a ton back then.
No,
Final
I
Fantasy
meant-
VII sold 10+ million copies.
I
so.
meant niche from, like, your age group.
Yeah.
To appreciate.
Yeah, I was definitely ahead of my time, I guess.
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
You still are. You're very wise beyond your years.
Thank you. Silent Hill is a very good mention. Thank you, Your Average Psych. That,
Oh, that
and
is a very
Guitar
good
Freak
mention.
said Worms Armageddon. I didn't play it on the PS1. I didn't know it came out for PS1, but I definitely played it on PC a lot. I have it now. I still love it. And Glino says I should time out. His choices are dodgy. I'm not sure exactly. But
He's saying that you should be timed out.
I guess.
You always get the rough crowd, Mike.
Apparently,
I just don't
man.
appreciate. I feel like Silent Hills. I forgot about that game.
Yeah, Silent Hill's great. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 specifically.
Yeah.
I just wasn't in a hard.
But Silent Hill 2 was on. Was that on the original PlayStation or was that
No, I
PS?
feel like that was PS2.
That was PS2, right? I feel like that was PS2.
PS2.
Yeah. All right,
That was
so
with the blonde girl, right? Or was that 3? Who's the blonde reporter that goes to Silent Hill?
that's
I can't
3.
recall.
That's 3.
Okay,
Here's
that
my
was-
suggestion for the top 5: Final Fantasy 7, Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy 9, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Resident Evil, Chrono Cross.
Resident Evil's number 5?
Since it's really important to you, then yeah.
I'm so happy.
It's not my number 5. I'm making that clear. I'll put Chrono Cross in front of it.
I love this list already. I'm so happy. I'm so pleased. Okay,
Okay.
so number 3, we're putting Final Fantasy 9.
Final Fantasy 9, then Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh my god,
Then we'll give you Resident Evil
4.
for number 5.
I'm so excited right now. You have no idea how excited.
And then we'll do Chrono Cross if you guys are okay with that with number 6.
Okay, so Castlevania's 4, or no,
Castlevania's 4, yeah.
Why don't you just delete 4? I'm like sitting here watching him. I was like, I know he's gonna do it.
And then 5, we got Resident Evil. I'm so excited.
Yep.
Okay. And then what are we doing? 6?
Chrono Cross, I think, should be number 6.
All right. After that,
Now we're about to get to Greg's era.
yeah, I agree.
Crash Bandicoot's
Um,
next.
Yeah, I think Crash Bandicoot should come in front of Spyro.
Yep.
You think so?
I think so, personally, yeah.
And I think Tomb Raider should come before Spyro.
I probably would agree with that, too, yeah.
Yeah?
My 7, 8, 9, 10 is Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Spyro, Twisted Metal. Do we have any ailments?
I don't.
I would have
Nailed
put
it!
Spyro before Tomb Raider, but I mean, I'm not gonna die there.
You're not that invested in that.
I don't give a fuck anymore.
Spyro was fine and all. I was never huge into Spyro.
Neither was I. More so, I was totally into Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Tomb Raider was, at the time, man, Tomb Raider was awesome.
Oh my god, yeah.
It sucks now, man. Those tank controls and shit.
Oh my god, it's the devil.
But
Well, that's why I would put Spyro higher, because even though they had tank controls, like it actually still I played it. It was on my PS3 and I still fine.
Your average like is cracking me up. He says, "I love how Drew throws everyone a bone with 4 and 5 while picking 1 to 3. Classic."
That's why I always expect,
like,
I do make the
this
show
one,
every just like
I'm not going to argue it, because realistically, I know that Final Fantasy VII, that Metal Gear Solid, that Final Fantasy IX are better games. Heck, even Chrono Cross is technically a better game. But like I said before, at the time when I was playing these games and what my memories of them are, Tony Hawk was a better game. Spyro was a better game. I didn't want to fucking walk around in a goddamn field being bothered every 5 seconds by a goddamn big giant beetle that wanted to fight me for no fucking reason at all. I wanted to jump on them with a freaking floating mask that said gibberish I didn't understand. You know, that's where I was at when the PS1 was around. So those games to me are better. But
if I was Greg at this stage in my life and I was playing the PS1 games for the first time, oh my god, Final Fantasy VII I would be like Drew. Final Fantasy VII would be my favorite game.
Oh yeah, if you played Final Fantasy VII when you were 7 years old, man, you would have been freaking like blown away by it.
That's what I mean. It's like I was like 4 years old when I was playing all of these games. So like Resident Evil to me is my top game on the PlayStation 1, because all I remember is being fucking terrified playing a video game and being like, shit, like there's zombies, they're gonna murder me, and that's probably why I love zombies so much today. Resident Evil started it all.
No, Resident Evil is genre defining. That was a big deal. That
so happy
I wouldn't put it in top 5, but I'm not having any problems with that. I think
I'm so
that's fine.
happy.
All right, so 6, 7, 8, 9 is Chrono Cross, Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Spyro, and number 10 is Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Yeah, we nailed our list.
All right, Greg, give us 10 through 1 in order.
Ladies and gentle pods, we have number 10 is Twisted Metal. Number 9, Spyro the Dragon. 8, Tomb Raider. 7 is Crash Bandicoot. What is the Crash Bandicoot theme song? Can we sing it real quick? Who remembers?
It's really hard to sing. I
know it's like
wait,
like a. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, just do it though.
I can't.
And do the noise of the like shaman guy. Yeah. That's Okay, we can continue. Number 6 is Chrono Cross. Number 5 is Resident Evil. I want to make you into a Jill sandwich. Thank you. Number 4, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Number 3, Final Fantasy 9. Number 2, Metal Gear Solid. And number 1, drumroll please, Final Fantasy 7.
Mel, we did it. No surprise there.
Do you feel like Kingdom Hearts is the greatest thing that ever happened to us, though?
Kingdom Hearts is great, yeah.
Thank you.
I don't think it's Final Fantasy tier, but it's great. I love that it happened.
Another battle for another day, sir. I'll put my
I
keyblade.
tell you, man, if you let yourself get invested into Final Fantasy, I
think
I have
like
very strong feelings that you would eventually like it better than Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, and I feel like when the remake of 7 comes out, so you can actually see why the story was so good. The biggest issue that I think that you have is that me and Drew experienced 7 when it came out, and there was nothing that looked like, Kingdom Hearts or even Final Fantasy 9. Heck, Final Fantasy 9 was the closest to 7, if I remember right. As far as visual looks, and even that was, leaps and bounds better.
I couldn't tell you
than
how
Final
excited
Fantasy
I am to play through the Final Fantasy VII remake. Like, we watched E3 together. When I saw the fucking Midgar City shot, and that was like the trailer, and then I saw the Buster Sword.
I know, you got up and ran around the room as if you knew what it was.
You know what's crazy about that?
What it was.
I think about that all the time. Like, that's one of our most popular videos on our YouTube. Actually, I think it is the most popular video on our YouTube, is my Final Fantasy VII reaction. Imagine how popular that video would have been if it was all 4 of us.
I know.
That would have, honestly, that video could have gone viral.
Yeah.
Like, it could have. It's a shame that didn't happen. But
we'll watch E3 together this year.
Yeah.
It'll be beautiful.
I hope.
And in my defense,
wait, are you going on vacation this year?
No, I'm not. In my defense,
his vacation will be his baby.
For the chat, I mean, honestly, did you not expect Final Fantasy VII and like Metal Gear Solid to be top 3 to 5? Those are like almost undoubtedly the best games of the PlayStation 1.
Like I said, I 100% agree with those choices.
There's a reason that I choose these games. Because I have good taste. Like, I'm just saying, like, my taste matches, like, the industry.
I just defended that, so we can go in.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. My taste has
just saying,
almost
you have good
always
taste, my
matched
taste is
the
the
industry and the critics. Like I don't have shitty taste.
I'm just saying, you guys,
There's
listen,
a
I
reason
understand why you like that
why
game. You like that game for a reason. I get it. But my taste is better.
Okay.
That's
Opinions.
exactly what just happened.
Dude, that just made me
Opinions.
cry. I laughed so hard.
Preach, says Rick.
He said, "There's a reason I choose it." I'm like, let's hear the fucking reason. He goes, "I have good taste." I loved that. That was beautiful.
All right. There's.
I love when Drew is cocky because there's something about his personality that doesn't go well with being cocky that makes him like it's like a comical cocky.
Thank you.
Because you're just such a nice human being in general. So when you like drop the mic on people, I'm like, oh my god, he actually did it.
Final mail time of the night. You guys can tweet at us with hashtag IOTP to submit your question, like this person did. Dear It Only Does PlayStation, if you had to make
Hi.
a 4-member team for an RPG using PlayStation exclusive characters not in Final Fantasy, who would they be and what would their roles be? This is the second question tonight from Johnny Poolside.
This might be the best question we've ever gotten.
This is a tough one, man. Especially if I can't use Final Fantasy characters.
Am I allowed to use Kingdom Hearts or is that in like the Final Fantasy realm?
I think you can.
Okay.
As long as it's not a Final Fantasy character in Kingdom Hearts, I think you could say Sora.
Okay. Can we like think for a second? Because now I'm like trying to go through genres of shit.
I have good taste. Drew, 2016.
I want that as a shirt. I love that. I want on the front it to be like, guys, do you know why I picked the games I do? And then on the back for it to say, I have good taste with like him like this, like just chilling.
Brad had a very good mention there. I have to say, Sly Cooper would be the thief.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Sly Cooper has got to be the
This is what I
thief.
mean. Like you have to pick the character that you love, but then that goes.
It has to fit a role. Yeah, it has to fit. Like, okay, let's see here. Like, who's our mage?
Okay. Are we building the team together?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So you got black mages and white mages. Black is dark magic, fire, water,
Black is
lightning.
blue, right?
Yeah, like that. And then white mage is healing. Like your
like Yuna.
medic. You're medic of the group.
Or Ara?
No, Yuna is a summoner. That's different.
Wait, who's white magic in 10?
In 10, technically, I think
Isn't it
Yuna.
Yuna?
Yuna does
Yeah.
cure, right?
Yeah, she
Miss
is.
Mel has a good point. Elena would be a good human shield.
Okay, go fuck yourself, Miss Mel, because
Miss
I'll come to
Mel,
London and
man.
cut you. Thank you very much.
Miss
With my damn
Mel.
Keyblade.
She cracks me up.
Fucking fruit.
Uh,
Bringing up Elena on this fucking chat.
Let's put it out there. I'm going to put this one out there just to get out of the way. Ratchet would definitely be our tech.
yeah, that's technically not really a
Engineer.
role.
Wait, who are our members? Who are our
Depends
members?
on what
Let's list
RPG you're playing.
Yeah, I
If you're
guess.
playing anything modern, like hell, even fucking
them. I was thinking like traditional like
or Warcraft.
JRPG.
Yeah, I was thinking more like warrior, mage.
Oh, okay, because that works.
Those are like the traditional RPG roles, kind of.
Yeah, they're not traditional now, not for Western either.
My dark mage is gonna
Western
be.
has been all over the place.
If we're going Western, though, God, like you have probably 50 roles. Like they've got so many like insane, obscure roles that they've created for Western RPGs. Like you've got like
okay.
techs and like engineers and like
let's go
weird
back,
shit.
Let's go back. My dark mage is gonna be Delson Rowe because he's a sponge and can absorb everyone else's
Ooh.
powers and lightning, fucking everything. I love that.
Let's hold
So
on to that one.
The opposite would Cole be
Put a
the
pin
white
in that
mage?
one.
No, because
No, he doesn't heal. He doesn't heal.
Yeah, he needs.
Yeah, he does.
The white mage
He
needs to
revives
heal.
people off the ground. Remember?
So does Delson technically.
Yeah, and Delson can absorb his powers, so I feel like he's
Right, but Delson was always. I mean, his whole thing was smoke. But
I think if we're gonna go with a white mage, we should try and find a character that's like dedicated to that
like,
thing.
to like unity and power and
Like reviving people, healing
like
them.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, like who's a dedicated character like
love
that their purpose is like healing.
Oh, Rebecca. No, I'm not picking Rebecca Chambers from Resident Evil. She's not worth that. I love her. I love you, Becky, but
That's tough. I feel like only RPGs have healing characters.
I know.
And we could go to like RPGs that aren't Final Fantasy, I guess, but I feel like that's kind of cheating.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like we should try and do non-RPG characters.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well,
Should it be
who's
like
our
Delson
warrior?
for Black Mage?
Should it be like Kratos be our warrior?
That's what I was just gonna say. Kratos is obviously the warrior. He's the
Yeah.
dual blades. He has to be our warrior.
Yeah, I feel like Kratos is
would
our
warrior.
murder anybody.
What?
yeah, okay. Never mind. You guys are going with the JRPG one.
Yeah. Just
no,
like your standard
attack.
warrior.
We can't do tank, support, DPS, and heal.
Yeah, that's
'cause
like
we're not doing
that's not even
Western
RPG.
RPGs.
First of all, that's like
Yeah, that's just like classes.
those are
and, like,
shooters and
Yeah.
like classes and shooters
It's
and
not.
stuff.
World of Warcraft is an RPG, and that's what you have in those. That's like where that's I mean, all those types of games. That's where it is.
I guess.
Yeah, but that's like MMORPG.
Just because you aren't versed in it doesn't mean it's not real.
I'm not
Like,
saying
that's-
it's not real. I'm
it
saying
is.
it's not traditional.
It doesn't have to.
Healing's fine, but healing would be a white mage.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good white mage.
And tank is kind of warrior, I guess, if you were trying to like put them together. And tank would be Kratos.
Right, I mean,
Oh
even
my God,
JRPGs
Ken.
have those roles. Like whoever, like put it this way: when you were in Final Fantasy, wasn't Barrett the guy that took all the damage for you?
Yeah, he was kind of your, if you want to call him
Right,
like
he
the
was the
tank,
tank.
of the guy.
He was the tank, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, he was that. Whereas Lightning was probably your warrior.
Here's the thing about 7. 7 actually doesn't have a class system. It doesn't have roles. None of the characters in that game.
No, but
are
I mean,
roles.
you also stack their health and their weaponry and everything like that. You base it out and stuff like that. I mean, it does have those roles.
Right.
I like
Uh,
Sly as the thief. I like Kratos as the warrior. I
Yeah.
like Delson as the black mage.
Sly Cooper as a thief.
Yeah, I feel like he has to be. I was thinking
I don't know, you
Jack
know what?
maybe
Actually, I like
for the
Tomb
white
Raider. I like,
mage
Lara
because of
Croft
the light
as-
eco.
I like Lara Croft as the thief more than Sly Cooper. As much as I like Sly Cooper, I don't know when I'm picturing it.
You consider Lara Croft a thief?
I can see her.
She's a
City?
treasure hunter, but I wouldn't consider her a thief. Like a thief is somebody that steals.
Mhm.
I wouldn't consider
fine.
what Lara Croft is doing stealing. Like the people
I'm
that
not
she's
saying
taking
that,
these
but
things
when
from have
making a
been
game,
Oh,
dead
it's
for
like
hundreds of
discovering.
years.
making them as what they are currently or what they could be.
What they are, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Like what they like a character that fits the role currently.
Okay.
I guess. I don't
That's
know.
why white mage is so difficult for me right
Yeah,
now.
white mage is difficult, really difficult, because there
I
aren't a
thought
lot of
Jack was
characters.
the light eco, but he only heals himself. I don't think he can heal other people with that.
Right.
Unless he just threw light eco on top of everybody, which that could happen. Who the fuck could be our healer? Why
Technically,
is
we
it so
don't need a
difficult?
healer. We have 4 characters already, but I feel like a good RPG team has to have a healer.
We need
Well,
a
listen, why don't
fucking
you-
healer. We need a healer. In all my RPGs I've ever played, I have the healer.
Yeah,
Always.
it's a very important role.
You need the healer.
You need your
out
white
of
mage.
out of the three team members that I always use, Final Fantasy X I use one, Final Fantasy VII I have my healer in there. Fuck that. You need the person that does cure. If you don't have cure and then Curaga, you're fucked. You're literally fucked.
It's true, Greg.
Curaga's my shit.
Kiriga is my shit too, Greg.
Thank you.
I got nothing, man. I can't. Somebody in the chat, help me out here. What's a
The only
good?
one I thought of was Mickey Mouse from Kingdom Hearts because all he does is fucking heal people.
So that's cheating.
Yeah, because it's like another.
Because it's an RPG, I guess already. There's just not any.
We could say Ellie because she is the cure to the whole virus.
Kind of good, I guess. It's like it's
You
a
can heal everybody.
it's a bridge. It's a stretch, but I'm kind of okay with it.
I like Ellie a lot.
We can't use Final Fantasy or RPG characters, Mel, so we can't say Aerith. We have to
Wait,
say,
can we use the Journey Travelers?
ooh,
They're kind of like healers,
they are.
and that
kind
they
of-
rebirth themselves. So, like, if you die, you're rebirthed.
feel like I would really be happy with the Traveler being on my RPG team.
Me too. That's why I just mentioned it. I'm looking at my statues. I'm like, wait a second.
Yes.
I want the Traveler,
Let's do
I
it.
think.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I want the
Okay.
Traveler.
So our warrior is Kratos.
Yeah.
Our white mage is the Traveler. Who do we want our final 2 roles to be? Delson as Black Mage and Sly Cooper as Thief.
I'm okay with that as a party.
Those are 4, right? That's 4 characters.
Yeah, that's 4 characters. Who was the other one that we said, though?
There was one more that we had,
I forgot who it was.
but it was a 5th party member. We're trying to keep
Yeah.
the 4 party members.
Yeah, if we had to do 4, I want my white mage. I definitely need my dark mage. My dark mage is all my fucking damage. And elemental damage, you need that shit. And then warrior Kratos would murder everybody. And then you need the thief to steal all your fucking items. So I like that party a lot.
That's good. And we can't do Nurse Joy because that's not PlayStation.
Yeah, fuck Nurse Joy. Get out of here with your Nintendo bullshit.
It says it only does
If I was gonna
PlayStation.
go Western RPG for tank and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Kratos would still be the tank.
Yep.
We would have Snake as the DPS.
Okay.
We would have Lara Croft as the healer, and we would have Ratchet as the tech.
Interesting.
Why Lara is the healer? That's a weird one.
Because I fucking said so, Greg. Because for
I
some
feel like she
reason,
doesn't
Because
really
it's his
help
team.
people.
That's what he wanted. He wanted his Western
Everybody
RPG
else I
team.
agree with, but
That's good. I like it.
Well, you have the ranged one. I feel like she also fits that. Usually, a lot of times with the
Ellie's our archer. Done.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The Ellie. Well, that's why
We don't need an archer. We already have 4 people, but yeah.
I know, but if I had to pick my team, I would get rid of Delson. I'd put Ellie as the archer.
That was a fun topic. Thank you, Johnny, for 2 questions tonight. And it brings us right to our end time. We just got past midnight. We passed 100 subs on our YouTube, which was our big goal for the night, which is awesome. Thank you to these YouTube subs. We had David R., Roy H., Glyno, Nox Forever, Vatak, Nero Camillo, In Your Intel, and Primal Instincts. Anybody else who's in the chat who hasn't subbed to our new YouTube, entirely new YouTube, it has never before been here. It's a new thing. Go there, subscribe to the YouTube, and help us grow back to our normal numbers, which were 1,500. We were really close to 1,500 subs. We're back down to 100 now, so we need your help. Share it, tell your friends, tell other YouTubers, tell Reddit, tell NeoGaf. Oh, that's something I wanted to bring up tonight to close off the show here. I've been in talks with NetGuy. You guys know NetGuy. We're in the early stages of trying to create a NeoGaf official topic for the Level Up Network. It might not happen. We're really trying to make it happen, though. NetGuy's talking with the mods there. It will be a really huge assistance to our show to have a NeoGaf topic. So what I'm going to tell you guys to do is create a NeoGaf username, because it's not something that's easy to do. I would really try now, because it can take anywhere from 1 day to 6 months to get into NeoGaf, depending on how crowded they are. Sometimes they, push people away, and sometimes they let them right in. So everybody, try and get a NeoGaf username if you don't have one already, so that when we get our official the Level Up Network and NeoGaf topic, you can post in there all the time. Keep it on the front page of NeoGaf. We're going to keep it active too, as long as you guys. But that's the thing. If you guys aren't keeping it active, it's going to die, because you're not allowed to double post. Like, I'm not going to be able to bump the topic myself.
Murder our thread.
Yeah, you would murder our thread. So everybody, try and get on NeoGaf, and hopefully we'll have our official topic for you soon. Subscribe to our YouTube. Donate on Patreon if you want to get some perks like shoutouts and XP, or you can do a singular donation, as you can see right there, thelevelupnetwork.com/donate, if you want to help us towards that goal at the bottom of the screen, which is a new desktop computer. We're going to try and build that base, eventually get to a studio camera, better mics, 1080p, 60 frames per second. Help us in that goal. Otherwise, we have our SoundCloud for podcasts. We have levelupnetwork.com/store for merchandise, all the good stuff. Most importantly, though, is YouTube right now. YouTube.
Exclamation point poop.
YouTube. All right, and that is going to wrap it up for It Only Does PlayStation Episode 8.
Woo!
We're going to end the way... Yes.
Okay.
We're going to end the way we always do, with jazz hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. PlayStation. So long.
Love you.
Farewell.
We love PlayStation. And you guys.
Hey Level Uppers, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to check out our other content, please do.
Like your favorite superhero podcast, Power Up, right here.
Or for everything PlayStation, It Only Does PlayStation right there.
For movies, television, and Netflix, check out the Lights Up show down this way.
And for the latest episode of our gaming talk show, The Level Up Show, go right there. But most importantly, please don't forget to subscribe right there.
Nailed it.
We did it.
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that was good.
Which one do you think they'll click on?
I think Level Up Show,
Probably.
obviously.
Hopefully, all of
It
them.
Only Does
Yeah.
PlayStation.
I would like if they watched them all, I think.
That would be
Lights
cool.
Up is new, though. I think they should definitely check that out.
Lights Up's a new one. Power Up's always a
Running
new
about
one.
7-8 seconds now.
Yeah.
We're
Well, you think they've clicked on something?
we're still here, so no.
I think they should.
We should
Did you
give
click
them a little
on?
bit
Did you
more.
click on something?
Click on something, guys.
We need to go.
The hell are you
I'm going to give it
waiting
3
for?
seconds.
Watch
We have
all
things
of
to
that.
do.
Three.
Just click
Stare him
anything.
down. Stare him down until they do it.
1.
Ah!